Soundstripe. 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 Soundstripe.
Hello and welcome into episode 5 of season 3 of the Holler Podcast. I am your host, Stephen Borbell, driver of the number 2 Ford Mustang for Next Level Motorsports. And you can see we have a very special guest with us this evening. It is none other than the owner of Pit Stop TV and our league announcer, Andrew Cardinali. Andrew, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. Got a bunch of beef stew in me from my fiance earlier. She winged the whole thing. It was perfect.
All right.
Absolutely just tremendous. So No, it was really good stew, and I'm feeling pretty good.
Well, awesome, and thank you so much for being here. Time is very difficult, especially around this time of year, and for you to be here and get to actually see the face of who some of us get to talk to each week, or who's
Yeah.
talking about us each week. So
The
it's
doorbell
really
guy's
good.
been up front a lot.
I hope you didn't just jinx it. Oh boy.
Ah, well, I'll knock
The
on
rest
wood
of
for
your
him.
season is now cursed.
Yeah, it might be. It was going so well, but and
Carl
we're
will now
joined
beat
by
you in the points.
yeah, right. Hell is not frozen over yet.
Hey, you haven't been around here lately.
True. But we are joined by our two normal nincompoops, Richard and
Normal.
Carl.
Well, partially normal.
Fair enough. Richard, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. Had to go. Had a late work thing I had to take care of not too long ago. Just got home probably 30 minutes ago. So, but doing good. Just kind of chilling, ready for tonight. Ready to see what kind of nonsense we can bring up tonight.
Very true. And Carl, yourself?
I'm
Baby
doing
watch on
all
the
right.
way?
Oh man, we're honestly we're like any hour now. It's we are right there. She's having contractions. It's all there. We're just waiting for everything to come together so we can shoot off. But yeah,
Good.
other than that, I'm fine.
Thanks. And you're here.
And you're here?
I'm here. Yes, I
That's
am
crazy.
here.
Before we even get into tonight,
Did we not give Andrew the memo?
What's the memo?
We
The
all have
hat.
hats.
Oh, the hat memo.
I can run and get one.
It's totally up to you.
That is
Give
up to
me-
you. You don't
Give me
have to.
2 seconds. Hang on. I'll give you a surprise. So I
He's
see the
gonna do
19
it.
hat. I see the 19 hat. Give me 1 second. You're gonna hate me.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh man.
Oh
sec.
no.
He's gonna break my heart, isn't he?
Do we have any guesses of what it is? Put your guess in chat.
Joey Logano. Ooh, or that, or
Who doesn't like
don't-
Martin Truex?
I don't know.
well, Martin Truex hard not to like. It's,
I know he's like the
I-
nicest guy in the.
like I can understand Joey Logano because of the 2017, 2018 Martinsville round. Other than that, it's hard to think what would cause a reaction like that. I'm interested, intrigued for what we're about to see.
And speaking of Baby Watch, Carl, I know we'll probably get into this, but didn't you have a quote-unquote scare during our race this past week?
So yes, so I went to lap down. I got lucky. So I went to pit, and I really just wanted to get a top off on fuel. I was already in the back of the pack. It's like, I'm just gonna come in, top off on fuel, and
Yep.
come
There
back out.
it
to
is.
Logano.
I called it. I called it. But anyway, no, I go and I get pit, and I'm getting ready to come out, and I hear yelling from across the house. I'm like, oh no, it is time to go. So I'm sprinting out, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? I didn't even log out. I was like, oh, what's going on? And she was just yelling at the dogs because they were tearing up the bed and the bed sheets and everything else. And so she was yelling at the dogs. I'm like, are you serious? I run back
left
as
the
fast
race
as I
for
can.
nothing.
Hop in, and as I'm hopping in, trying to get off of pit road, a pace car is passing, start finish, and I go one lap down.
Full disclosure: Ashley was going to get my meatball of the week.
But Carl rebounded pretty well.
He did.
And
He
we
rebounded
will get
really
into
well.
that.
I got super lucky, but yeah, we will get into that.
But we've got a lot to cover tonight. It's our Christmas episode. I guess you can say unofficial Christmas episode. Because tonight we will be unveiling. We had a little secret Santa. I think we had a total of 12 guys end up signing up, of guys that create paints and whatnot. So we had 12 guys participate, and out of those 12, we have 11 to unveil tonight. There is one that is still not completed, but it's in the works, and will be ready for next week. But yeah, I'm really excited to get to that. We do have trivia back again this week. Got some trivia questions with Richard yesterday. These are some very obscure ones, I think. There's not really a certain trend to it. It's just interesting. But and we have a whole race to cover. But before we even get into it, got to thank the sponsors. Obviously, Butt Kicker, the leader in haptics, Sundance Pizza, the best pizza in the west side of Mississippi. I know that's not an official thing, but they're going to need to adopt that. Ideal Lease, Ascendance Trucks, RevSimShop.com, and Advanced GG Supplements. And also, that promo code for Advanced GG is WolfXLive10 for 10% off your order, and any proceeds from the transaction go directly to funding the BRB Racing League. And we can't forget to give a big shout out to Pitstop TV. for all the hard work and effort that they put in each week in broadcasting a tremendous product. Andrew, I don't know if y'all are accepting any inquiries from people, but if y'all are, where can they find you to get in touch with you?
So anything Pit Stop TV can go through Andrew at pitstoptv.com. Again, that's Andrew at pitstoptv.com by email.
Matt King had a good idea. Sorry.
Oh, there we go. That's a really good one. I have a knit hat I can go grab. I've got plenty of hats. Anyway,
Keep rotating.
you know what? I have another one. Hang on. But while we aren't necessarily taking on full-time leagues right now, special events would be a great thing to add every once in a while here and there. We have one this weekend. That would be... We're taking on special events right now, I'd say.
Okay.
Leagues were kind of filled up, but by all means, feel free to inquire at any point in time. You never know. But especially Tuesdays are locked down with BRB right now, so that's a good thing. Yeah, we're in a good spot.
Well, good deal. We love having you guys on and look for the continued partnership there.
Glad
But
to be here.
before we even get into next race now, we're going to go straight into our lovely trivia questions. If I can figure out how to work this thing.
Buttons complicated.
I had buttons. My brain's not working right. I still can't feel my legs. Bang.
There we go.
I got it to work
Yay.
flawlessly. You saw nothing.
No issues whatsoever.
No, none at all. If this is your first time seeing this, we do the Rev Sim Shop random question trivia each week. There's 3 questions, all worth a point apiece. You're going to get 30 seconds after the question is read, whatever it is. After I read the question,
Okay,
you're gonna
Maui.
get 30 seconds
English are hard.
to answer it in chat. And the winner at the end of the season is going to get a prize. Again, that's not, it hasn't been unveiled what that prize will be, but that is it. Without further ado, if I can figure out how to do this now. Oh, see, everyone's rotating hats now. I feel like I have to go get a hat. I know y'all can't see them, but you're going to be in for a surprise when we get back to our face cams. That's all I'm going to say. All right, our
So
first
fix
question
this.
for the evening. What year did Jeff Gordon tie Dale Earnhardt Sr. in career wins? And your 30 seconds begins now.
I came up with this question, guys, because you guys really should go follow NASCAR on Facebook, because you would know the answer to this question. Or even Twitter.
Potential.
I think they post the same thing on Twitter also.
And
X.
probably Instagram.
And probably Instagram.
Pretty sure I know this one.
Ooh, there's Eric.
answers.
I hope Eric keeps
Oh, look,
his
there's
thing
Eric.
going on. Ooh, our Jeff Gordon fans chiming in. There's Isaiah. And no one can tell
5,
Isaiah is a Gordon fan because, he only runs to 24.
3, 2, 1. Time is
Well,
up.
Isaiah's going to be very upset.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And the correct answer is 2007. Jared put 3007 and then corrected it 2007. I'm not counting that correct, Jared. I'm just kidding. But no, I mean, that's a good amount. Got it right. When Richard came up with this question the other day, I got it wrong too, just because I remembered the race, but I didn't remember the year. All 3 of those years melded together in my head. So we started off a little difficult, and it's going to be really hard at the end.
Yeah.
But we will update those accordingly, and we will get back to our scheduled programming. And there you go. Now you have 3 people with Santa hats and a salad hat. Unfortunately, I don't have any Christmas hats. But all right. So let us get into last week. Last week we had race 4 of the season 3. And it was the BRB Race Control Appreciation 250. And ironically enough, we did not have race control for this race. And in that, in turn, it made us very thankful for Rev at the end of the day, knowing everything he does for us and there was a little bit of controversy thrown in there. We'll touch on towards the end of the race, but we had our winner. Mason Houseman wins his second race of the season, picking up right where he left off last season. Borderline domination, but he had a lot of strong competitors throughout the race. And a strong competitor number one, I think, was Johnny Wood Jr. In those final, that final restart, we had about 10 to go. It looked like Johnny was going to have every chance to pass him. I think Johnny even ran the fastest lap of that race during that last 10 lap run, but he could just not get around Mason. But no, Mason with a great run. Andrew, take us through your lens and what you saw during that race.
Well, I didn't see all the drama that you guys saw. A lot of the drama was hidden behind the mics that we don't have on the broadcast.
I was going to say, do y'all have access to hear anything that we say?
Zach, usually my co-commentator, this week it was One Man Jam. He listens in, and anybody else who co-commentates can listen in and hear what you guys are talking about and whatnot. And he uses that a lot. I love that he does. It provides an extra bit of broadcast, extra bit of like immersiveness, I guess, to the broadcast. Like he can listen in whenever he gets all that information. But since my PC is how I'm logged into the session and how the broadcast is going out, I can't listen in because I have to have all that muted, or it would not be TV friendly all the time.
That's fair.
Plus, it'd be voices going on in the background of the broadcast. We don't need all that. So I don't get to listen in, unfortunately. I guess I could go back in the replay and listen in if I wanted. But it sounds like there was a lot that I missed. Honestly, yeah, and even going back to Dover, the last 2 weeks, even though there's been a lot of drama, as I say, accelerated caution counts, a little bit extra cautions, it's been a couple of really good races to broadcast. A couple of really good races to, I feel like, sit back and watch and enjoy, because you have some breaks from the cautions, which is nice. Long green flag runs are good, but at the same time, those cautions are nice to break things up on our side of the fence. And there's been quality racing while we're green. Now, stages 1 and 2 were fantastic. Yeah. Perfect blend of green flag, yellow flag. It is nice to have pit strategy. I don't recall much in those first 2 stages. It was pretty much just straight up, I feel like.
Yeah, it typically will be.
Yeah, and then we had the slew of cautions to start stage 3. I recall that much. Now, I did a broadcast Wednesday, which is kind of, I'm trying to separate between Tuesday and Wednesday now in my head. They were very similar races, actually. But anyways, a slew of cautions to begin stage 3, I recall that much. And I think it added a couple of cool elements. What I liked the most was that you had to see Mason and Johnny come back through the field. They weren't just up front the entire time. There was a flip in the stages at one point. Even in stage 2, they had to come back through the field. I recall that. So you saw these two guys that are out to lunch compared to everybody else. No offense. Out to lunch compared to everybody else in the field, have to actually fight back through the field twice. And that was really cool. That was really special. I feel like you don't get that often. A lot of times, I mean, we had an Atlanta race on this channel recently where the 2 top drivers were just gone. And granted, there were no stages. They were just gone the entire race. Absolutely. I mean, they put 3rd place was the only other car on the lead lap.
Oh, wow.
And 3rd nearly went that lap down. He was a lap away from going a lap down at the end of 167 laps at Atlanta. Granted, it's Atlanta. It was green flag, all but 1 caution at the very start of the race. You'll have that. That's kind of how that breaks down a lot. But it was different. And that race was still good. That league is fantastic as well. But it was nice to see Mason and Johnny have to fight back through the field and have to work for it again, because their win could have been taken away. That could have gone to anybody else. And I feel like even Patrick Hernandez really showed a lot of muscle in that race. You had different guys at the front. So I'll put the soapbox away. I've talked a lot now, but I really like that dynamic when you have the top 2 guys, top couple of guys, whatever, have to come back through the field and show that they can actually They've shown how fast they are, and now they have to show their racecraft to get back to the. I like that.
Yeah, and I think Mason and Johnny are, especially on mile and a halfs. I mean, I could say every track they're right there. There's a couple of other guys that are right there with them, but Johnny and Mason on mile and a halfs are lights out. And there was plenty of times that they were running away with it, but others were trying to keep it in reach. And start of stage 3, we did have those 4 or 5 cautions, I think it was, like right at the beginning. It was one after another and another. And it was like, why are we regressing back to where we were at Dover and back to where we were at Phoenix? Like, not this again. Why is it gets to the end of the race and then we don't know how to drive anymore? Like, it's no secret that's something we've struggled with this season is cautions. But Kansas was a big step in the right direction, whether or not that was because it was a mile and a half, or what. Even without race control, I think it was good enough to see some benefit. Now Bristol's going to be a whole nother situation, but overall, I think it was a lot of fun. And Carl, going back to what we were talking about a minute ago, of you were a lap down from having to go check on your wife, who is pregnant, and make sure that you're not having a baby right now, and then you got your lap back, and where'd you end up finishing? You got a
6th.
Yeah, exactly. Bring us through your race of after that, when you got one lap down.
Oh man, so here I am. I'm we're under caution. We're getting ready to go green, and I'm that lap down. I was like, oh man, here we go. And this is still early on in stage 3, so I'm thinking like, oh man, if this goes like stage 1 and 2, I'm toast because I didn't have the speed. I could save if I had long runs. I was doing really good. In terms of the short run speed though, I just don't have that short run speed. I'm not that type of driver. So I was thinking I need to get out, keep a clean nose, and get that lucky dog. And honestly, I got really lucky because I come out, we go green, we go one lap, and we have a caution again. Although it was a little scary because that was one of the bigger wrecks we had. I think there was 5 or 6 cars involved, and all I'm seeing is and this is on the front stretch coming out of 4. I'm seeing a couple cars go to the infield. I'm seeing a couple cars in the wall. I'm seeing smoke everywhere. And I don't want to Days of Thunder it because then that just ruins my race and everyone else's. So I'm on the brake. I'm downshifting. I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to coast through here. I'm the only car a single lap down. So it's like, if I just don't touch anything, I will be fine. And I almost stopped on that front stretch, just trying to make sure I get it. But yeah, I come through and it works out, and I get my lap back, start at the back. And that's another thing I've had to do. It seems like every race I've ended up in the back like 2 or 3 cars and had to work my way forward. I'm still devoid of all stage points, which is really painful in the chase standings, but I made some good progress, and a 6th place finish isn't nothing to kind of raise my nose at. I've had 2 top 10 now in the past 2 races, so I feel like I'm going in the right direction. I just need to work on my qualifying speed. That's what's hurting me right now is I'm qualifying mid-pack, and that is really, really hurting my stage point chances. It's something I've put a focus on for this year, and I still haven't found how to do it. So and it's crazy how the mentality changes and how the lines change between a qualifying run and a tire saving run, or even a racing run. They are entirely different. So it's something I've been working on this season for qualifying, but I'm really happy that I was able to recover like I did and have another top 10 finish.
Yeah, it was a great recovery, and I saw you there. I think before we got that caution with 10 to go, you were a couple spots in front of me. I'm like, Carl, like you were a lap down not long ago, and before I knew it, I saw you there. And then Richard, no offense here, but on the other end of things, I saw you up front early. And then what happened to you at the end? I think you ended up finishing 2 laps down.
Yeah, so I felt like the long run I could have like 4th or 5th place pace because I was catching the top 5 drivers and just slowly passing them one by one. But there was a huge, I don't know what, I can't remember exactly what happened. I just watched a broadcast also not too long ago, but Adam got loose and it caused me to slow down, and it put us way back in the field and we had to get back through. But then I just kept getting caught in traffic and I had to slow down for another situation. And Braxton went to go to the outside of me and I went to throw a block and it was just a tad bit too late. And it right hooked me straight into the outside wall and broke my toe link. So I had to go in and take my fast repair. And it was just There was nothing. It was like 15 laps to go in the race, so there was no recovering from that at all. But I mean, overall, I had a really good race. I finally found some long run pace. I was able to save the tires quite a bit. I mean, I was catching, like I said, top 5 at least I could have had at the end of that race. It just didn't shake out the way I hoped it to.
That makes a lot of sense now, because you definitely had speed early on, and I think I would say you're going to be a top 5 car, based off what I saw early on, and well, you can get it back next week at Bristol.
No, I can't.
I know you can. Was it last time we went to Bristol last season? You weren't there. You had to miss that race. I think it was.
Yeah, the last time we went to Bristol, I had to miss it because I was in Orlando for, I want to say, one of the wife's Disney runs or her birthday or something like that.
Yeah,
think
something
it was her birthday.
not too important.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. Before we get on to our meatball of the week, just going to go through our top 10 and just some race stats, I guess. So we had 7 different leaders with 17 lead changes, a league season low of 14 cautions, 12 for incident, 2 were stages. Only 32 laps out of the 165 laps were under caution, which is an improvement, by the way, from Phoenix when we had, was it 55% of the laps we ran were under caution. So definitely an improvement there. And then real quick through the top 10, like I said, Mason Houseman gets the second win of the season, finishes P1. Myself turned Johnny at the end there for P2. I wouldn't say turned Johnny. Johnny came down and blocked me pretty hard, and he pulled what he did to me at Vegas, but this time I actually just turned him instead of letting him do it. Yeah. Johnny,
He was laughing about it at the end.
It was
He
funny.
like, yeah, I did it to myself.
It was funny. Johnny ended up coming home 3rd, so it didn't hurt him too bad. Isaiah with a good run brings it home 4th. Scott Fritz rounds out the top 5, and then Carl Pooler 6th. Zachary Brandvold 7th. Adam Buzzio comes back from his little mishaps there to finish 8th. Jared Hughes 9th, and Gray Walker rounds out the top 10. I did want to touch on real quick of the part of the drama, I guess, that we were talking about towards the end of that race, Andrew. I don't remember what exact lap it was on. It might have been that caution with 10 to go or so right before then. There was an issue via netcode between 2 drivers. I think it was Patrick Hernandez and... Was it Scott Fritz? It might have been Scott Fritz.
I think it was like Patrick Hernandez, Scott Fritz, Adam. I mean, I
Adam
was
was
right
there.
up there also.
Right. It was a big cluster, and Scott and Patrick were literally inside, like their cars were inside of each other. Don't know how. I've never seen it before racing on the track, but they were blinking so bad. And then one of them comes down across Adam's nose and gets turned, but no caution comes out because it was off the racing surface. And then I think Adam was trying to queue up for something and accidentally pressed the wrong button on his steering wheel, from what it seems like, and threw a caution by accident. That wouldn't have been the end of the world. However, a couple of drivers decided to go with a different strategy during that longer run that we had and decided to pit. So they were a lap down and caught a lap down. And the decision was made to not give them that lap back.
So that explains. Wasn't there? I seem to recall a mystery caution on my end,
Yes, that must have been
yeah,
the
that's
mystery
what it
caution.
is. Yeah.
and I couldn't find what had happened. I have a fisheye camera at the top of the tower at Kansas, where you can see the whole track, and I reversed the replay. I went back and played it through a little bit, and I didn't see any slow cars. I didn't see anything that was obvious as to a reason for a caution. So that explains a lot of what was going on there. That's tricky when you have those actions mapped onto the wheel.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I mean, I have my wheel right here. I feel like if you're trying to drive around, spin, whatever, and you have accidentally hit one of those buttons, that can be race impacting, to say the least.
Definitely so. And Adam felt terrible about it at the end of the day. Like he had no intentions to allow that to happen, but unfortunately in the world that we live in, with Rev going through his issues, our race control on his PC stuff, having someone driving that has to be race control in the race too, it's a very difficult job to have. But it led to a little bit of drama at the time. Some drivers were upset, rightfully so. It's just one of those scenarios, like you can't make everyone happy. Unfortunately, bad things happen, and we just got to roll with it and do what we can to make sure it doesn't happen again. So I don't know if Adam has changed that mapping yet on his wheel, but if not, he should probably take it off the wheel and put it on a button box or something. Like, just
You know, I hope Adam's watching because I'm gonna rub the salt in the wound here a little bit because I was mentioning how I'm good on the long runs. Well, I was in the top 5. I think I was making a run on top 3. I was actually gaining ground. I saved my tires. I was on a good haul. I was like, man, I can have a podium. This will turn my season around. And that caution comes out. I was like, oh man. And again, I'm not the one with those short run speeds. I don't like to take too many risks on the restart because we are very close together. And I'm still learning how a lot of these guys drive. And I was just thinking, man, I had my shot. There it was, and that happened. And it's just unfortunate. Rev is having some PC issues, and you know, just like in real life, sometimes you, if you're trying to get a car at the track and you can't get a part or something's not working, and you miss some things, and you're gonna miss a couple of weeks. And honestly, the way Adam has been able to do the race control over these past 3 weeks while racing, and this is really the only incident we've had, that in itself is remarkable. So it's hands off to Adam. He has a whole lot on his plate. He's doing so much for the league, so much during the races, and so it was bound to happen. It was unfortunate the timing and everything, but there's never a good time for something like that to happen.
no.
So unfortunately, the best we can do is smile and move on. And we got Bristol next week, so it's going to be another wild show.
Yeah. To say the least, we're going to need race control for Bristol, just because of how quick things can happen. But and not even just throwing yellows for in-race race control. With our choose situation that we have, a lot of black flags occur on restarts because of that, because you're passing cars that you're technically not supposed to. So making sure all those blacks get cleared at every restart is another challenge. But yeah, just wanted to touch on that real quick. And now we can get into our meatball of the week. And Andrew, you are our guest. I know you're not officially on this board that I have up, but I do want you to pick your meatball of the week. And if you want to abstain from it, I'm not going to force you, but the floor is
Meatball of
yours.
the week.
Are you familiar with the meatball of the week?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm racking my brain. I will mention I went and I found that caution that we were talking about.
Okay.
Lap 142 on to lap 143 is when that happened. So if you
There
go
you
back
go.
in the broadcast and find that's at least my side of that mystery debris caution.
Rain
It's
is
a
turn
debris
2.
caution. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. Meatball of the week. That's. I don't feel like there's an obvious one this week.
Oh, I would argue.
From the broadcast.
That's fair.
From the broadcast standpoint, like trying to rack my brain through incidents and stuff, just looking at the race. I think I'm gonna give it to Isaiah Sutherland.
Oh.
He kind of pulled a silly and came across somebody's nose 4 wide going into turn 1. And I feel like had he not done that, he would have potentially won the race or been in the running to win the race. So yeah, and then he gets a Jeff Gordon question wrong in trivia.
The double whammy.
Oh,
Yeah,
the Gordon fan gets
I
a
did
Gordon
not see that
question wrong.
coming.
Yeah,
Insult to
I'm sorry,
injury.
Isaiah. I talked to him mid race too, and he made a joke about me reminding him of his bad race. He still had a good race, but from somebody who has quickly risen to be one of the top drivers in the series, that was a bit of a silly moment. There's one more I have in mind. Can I give an honorable mention?
Please.
There was, and this is a joint meatball that I'll give out to Richard Smith and Braxton Skinner in the middle of 4 wide out of turn 4.
Oh goodness, that was a mess.
That was a bit of a situation out of the corner, but that was a much smaller one. That's why it's an honorable mention from me.
That one was funnier to me just because of the aftermath and the holler of our Discord
my
after
gosh.
the race.
The holler is crazy. Y'all are wild.
That's why it's there.
It hasn't gotten bad yet. But
Oh man.
well, I'm gonna take it, and again, I'm gonna go off of last week of myself going first and the meatball of the week, and then the pick. We're just gonna roll with that
We're all with it.
for a little bit, give myself some fun. And my meatball of the week is a driver who would have been parked if we had race control during the race.
boy.
Multiple incidents. I had a run-in with him. I forgot what lap. I think it was the beginning of the third stage or so. Brendan Maddox got up into me. I got loose, went into the wall, broke the toe link, and then came back down the track a little bit, and then a whole wreck started after that. But Brendan Maddox is my meatball of the week, and surprisingly enough, that is his first meatball of the week this season. So shout out there, Brendan, compared to where
Wow,
we were at
that's-
last season. But I have to give you your first one.
Carl, you're next.
Oh man, man, this is tough because I saw the entirety of the field. From the back to the front, from the back to the front. I lost count of how many cars I passed over the week,
Whoa.
over the race. So it's and honestly, all the fault is on myself. Man, I didn't see anything too egregious.
Do I need to go? Because I've got one.
Go ahead.
Okay. Zachary King
Oh.
on the restart and just spins his tires and
I forgot
Thank
all
you.
about
I
that.
forgot that too.
It
like
was in that
he's
nice
in
spot.
second gear. He's that far back. He's in second gear. And then literally right before the green flag drops, he shifts to first and basically just floors it and turns the car right on a restart. It's just like, why? Like we're
Well,
trying to
okay.
stop the cautions.
And I hate that I'm doing this. I really, it rubs me the wrong way. I will defend Zachary on this. That restart zone and the way things were panning out during the restarts were really weird. I did the same thing on the start of the race, where I felt like it was a little too low for the second gear. So right as the green flag was dropping, I dropped down to second gear and got loose. But instead of turning right, I turned left. And I must have let about 5-6 cars past me before the start finished because I missed my shift.
When you're that far back, though, Carl, like that far back in the field, second gear was the way you needed to start. Like it's not.
Yeah.
Starting in first is almost pointless because all you're going to do is get a better restart than the guy in front of you, but they're not going
We
anywhere.
can't
'cause
pass
you
now
can't
before
pass.
the line.
So
it's-
Exactly.
first gear is not the gear to start at 15th back.
Well, and it just made it interesting where. And I don't know, maybe this is because the leaders were shifting down, but it seems like once we got out of turn 4, going about 65, once you shifted down, we were going all of a sudden between 60 and 62. So there was a drop, and there was a little bit of the accordion effect. So it was also amplified going further back. So I will give Zachary a little bit of a caveat of saying, hey, I get it. But still, you can't turn right. You got to turn left. You're going to do that. You got to turn left. At least if you're on the inside line, you got to turn left. Wreck yourself and not everyone else. So that is a lesson learned for the 51.
I mean, that's a lot to say, wreck yourself instead of everyone else for King, who is notorious for not holding his brakes and getting other people involved.
Did you see his car
or instead of the
multiple times in that
broadcaster's
race?
driver.
Say that again, Andrew?
Or wreck somebody else instead of the broadcaster's driver.
Oh, well, there you go. Now you got beef with Andrew, Zach. Look what you've
A little
done.
bit of beef.
Ooh.
And it just makes sense to pick Zachary King for Meatball Motorsports. I mean,
Yeah. I will say his teammate Josh Anderson of Meatball Motorsports has done nothing wrong this season that I've seen, at least. Zach has
Well.
carried that badge himself.
he has carried that badge. He's got some lessons to learn from Josh Anderson.
Oh man, I think my meatball of the week is going to go to Patrick, and this is out of pure love. I don't know if Patrick's watching, but this is out of pure love. He had the greatest race of his season on Tuesday. He was up in the top 10. He was passing me. He was passing everyone. I honestly think with a little bit of finesse, he could have been in a top 5. He had a top 5 speed car all night long. And he makes a couple mistakes, gets back there, gets caught up in other stuff, and the bad luck continues for Patrick Hernandez. And I totally get him wanting to just give up and be done, and he's so frustrated. I've been there. I think we've all been there at some point doing this. You get so frustrated, so disheartened by the results and the situations you're putting yourself into. It's so frustrating, and I hate to see him so frustrated when he does have that speed. He has that skill, but the patience this car requires. I don't think I've driven anything that requires so much patience. I mean, Richard, you and I, we've driven Mazdas, we've driven Indy cars, we've driven GT3s, we've driven GTPs. I don't think anything requires as much patience as this next gen car does.
Go try a supercar out.
Well,
Okay.
supercar. But here, hey, those were released a couple of days ago. All right, not everyone's gonna get in on that. But I honestly think this car requires, especially the way you have to race it, requires some of the most patience of almost any car on the service that I've raced.
Yeah,
So
I agree with you there overall, but I was just throwing the supercars because I've just recently drove them and how crazy they are to drive. But no, the next gen cars, they definitely take a lot of patience. And Patrick Hernandez, like you said, he had his best race of the season last or Tuesday. He can't take that for granted at all, and that's whipping Ari in the face. That's cool. But he can't take that for granted at all. I mean, he gets into unfortunate situations, and I think when they just pile up throughout the race, it just makes his decision making kind of go out the window, I think, and then he just starts making not smart moves. He really just needs that voice on the radio to get him calm throughout the race, and I think he can still be. Again, like that's the one thing I think that can really help him out in the middle of the race is having that calming voice to help him out, get him refocused back into the race, and he could be a top 5 contender every race of the season.
Yeah, and if he doesn't even have that calming voice on the radio, it's probably harder said than done, but just to have the mentality of it's a long race. You don't have to make 7 passes each corner to work your way up through the field, and any little mistake, a little bit at a time, and just get them when you can. But again, it's a lot harder said than done. And into that, we can get into our point standing situation. So now we have, ignore that. Now we have, why is this all messed up now?
He
I don't
knows what
know.
he's doing, everybody.
Oh goodness, what is going on?
What are you moving now?
That's the wrong page.
It's broke. It's
What
all
are you
over.
doing, Steve?
There it is.
I know the
There it
feeling. I
is.
know the feeling. Trust me.
It's like I set everything up right and it still wasn't set up right, apparently.
Clearly.
Or it was just the wrong button. But we have our drop race now factored into the standings. So for those that didn't know and didn't read the standings, or it's not the standings, read the rules at the beginning of the season, we do have a drop race in the regular season for drivers of, we understand this is not your day-to-day job. Real life comes up and you can't make every race. But so we have it built in. Your worst race or a race that you didn't go to or perform in is automatically dropped from your points, so it does not go against you. And it automatically calculates which one is your worst race. So now from the rest of the season, it's going to be the standings with that calculated in. And with that calculated in, there is a little bit of a shift where drivers stand versus all 4 races. And Mason Houseman leads the way with 180 points, and he has a pretty sizable gap. Actually, the biggest gap between 2 drivers in the whole standings is between first and second, and Mason deservedly so. He's been absolutely dominant all season. And yes, he had a little hiccup at Dover, but as of right now, that's his drop race. So he gets that one back, and he gets to keep going. Isaiah Sutherland in second, Johnny Wood Jr. third, Adam Buzzio fourth, myself fifth, Matthew Catania sixth, Gray Walker seventh, Scott Fritz eighth, Richard Wolsifer ninth. Surprisingly, Zachary King in 10th, still holding on to that top 12 spot. Dustin Stallings 11th, and Jared Hughes is holding on to the last chase spot at this time. And then you look after that. You look at 13th through 20th. 20th is only 17 points back of 12th. And if I can pull up my other page, bang.
Ooh, we got it.
All the way to it. And all the way up to 32nd is less than 40 points away from 12th place. So you have 20 positions that are easily within a race of points of 12th place. The battle of the century is going on between 12th and 32nd right now in points. Everyone is so close. You're fighting for every position, every stage point. Lead lap here gets you an extra point. You're going to be battling tooth and nail.
Oh, for sure. And the battle, you can even see it during the race. Like the 12th through, whatever we said here, 38th or whatever. I mean, that racing, even during the race, is close. Like all those drivers, any one of them can sneak into the top 12 for the chase at the end of the season. So it's definitely going to be a great points battle to watch the rest of this season 3. And I think even once we get the green flags, more consistent and a lot less yellow flags, I think it's even going to be even better racing and a lot more battles throughout the entire field.
Well, as crazy as it is, if you take even just 12th through the 20th spots, I haven't watched the Kansas race back because I've been busy at work, but Dover, Phoenix, those drivers are around each other. I think at least 6 out of 8 of those drivers in the past 2 races you can catch in a frame on our great broadcast at Pit Stop TV. So you guys, and I think I mentioned it last week, these drivers are all around each other all the time. So if one of them makes a mistake, you can guarantee the rest of those drivers there will be able to pounce on it. I mean, I was racing around Coulter Clark, Dakota Camper. Zachary Branfold had a lot of speed last week. Evan Patinko just got really bad luck. It looks like he was turning around, but he got caught up in a couple of things last week. Cody Dorsey, he's very quiet, but he's constantly there. Brendan Maddox, my unofficial rival, I'll say, is there right outside. But yeah, that top 12. I mean, some of the surprises. Catania, a rookie, never would have guessed that. Zachary King surprising us with the win at Atlanta, starting off this season. That's a huge surprise. So some of these rookies are here, and they're already mixing it up with our chase drivers. And then going back beyond the top 20, all those drivers too. A couple of stage points, and you never know what could happen. Richard Smith, he so flashes the speed. Eric Jensen, he's up there in the top 15, almost the top 10. So Zachary Maddox, he had some really bad luck at Kansas, getting caught up in some other wrecks. But other than that, man, there is plenty of battles to be had up and down the entry list here at the BRB Racing Series.
Yeah, and you mentioned rookies. I look in that top 10 real quick. I see 6th, 7th, and 8th. You have 3 rookies. Bang, bang, bang. We had an influx of drivers at the beginning of the season, and we didn't know how it was going to shake up points, how we had it last year, and in the current ranks of the drivers that we had. And immediately, they're battling each and every week for those top 5s, those top 10s, making some of our lives a little bit more difficult than it was. But it's great to see the parity that we have in the middle group. Yes, you do have a Mason Houseman, Isaiah Sutherland, and Johnny Wood Jr. that are, I would say, a little bit above the rest. But everyone else is really close in battling each week, and it's great to see.
One name that keeps sticking out to me, sorry to interrupt there, Carl. One name that keeps sticking out is Brandvold for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's really close to having something really, really good in this series. And looking at the points, even I'll make it larger on my screen here. He's 17th.
Yep.
Right behind the tie, including Carl, which is wild to me. 3 drivers tied right there. Going into Bristol is going to be a lot of fun to talk about. But Brandvold is really, really close, I feel like, to having something and being in that top 12 with his teammate Gray Walker, who's also been very impressive. That team, I don't know where they came from.
Roblox.
It's crazy. There's, I guess, something to it, which is I never would have thought, but they've been really solid. And of course, then you have Catania and you have Fritz, who I've covered Fritz in the past in different leagues. Catania is new to me. As you can tell, I've been saying Catania all this time, and now I hear you guys say Catania. It makes a lot more sense. They've been really good. I did not expect this because they're dirt racers, but they've been really good as well. So maybe there's something to the Roblox and the dirt thing. I don't know.
Them being dirt racers shows on track, and I don't mean that in a negative way. Dirt racers are known for their aggressive moves, and those CFM guys are very aggressive on track. They're clean 99.9% of the time, but they will make you upset with how aggressive they are. And it's really good to watch, though. And then you bring up another good name, Zachary Brandfold. He's the name that has stuck out to me every week watching qualifying. He qualifies very well each week. And maybe he's going to turn that corner and get those results where he's qualifying, hopefully. But no, Something is going on with the Roblox. Maybe I need to get playing some Roblox more these days, and I can get some better finishes.
No, don't do
I'll
it.
pass.
Don't do it.
Carl, maybe that's the secret for you.
Don't.
Well, you know
hey,
what? If you start doing Roblox NASCAR, Steven, then you can start chatting in the kids table, okay?
Hey,
How
not to
dare
toot
you.
my own horn, but I did choose Gray Walker in my chase standings before the season even started. So Gray, keep it up. But remember, let
I
me
hope you didn't
pass you
jinx him.
first.
Stay off my bumper also, please.
Oh, goodness. All right, we're going to get into our second trivia question for the evening. And after the trivia question, we are going to do our unveiling of
Yes.
Secret Santa Christmas paint schemes. But get your fingers ready to type in the answer. You're going to get 30 seconds when I say go. I'm going to switch it over now.
Are you?
I was waiting because it's already pulled up. That's not right. There it is. All right, our second question is, what is the only car number to never lead a lap in the NASCAR Cup Series? Your 30 seconds begins now.
Yeah, I feel like this was touched on a season or two ago on the broadcast of either Fox or NBC, but I can't remember.
Probably so.
I
But
don't
I
know.
feel like these are three numbers. You asked me who drives or who drove this number. I could never answer either of these.
There's one on that list that I feel like has to be immediately taken out.
Am I missing something?
I won't say it.
You know what? When we're
Tell us when we
done.
show it.
No, yeah. Before we show it, like, tell us what one you think you could knock out when we're done with the counter. Hey, Adam's here. Look at that.
There he is.
And time.
All right, time is up.
All right, Andrew. What was going through your mind?
I feel like the 72 clearly has let a lap at some point.
And why is that?
Benny Parsons.
Oh, really?
Ah,
Like, he was just around long enough and was just good enough. I feel like he definitely let a lap at some point. I don't know if he ever won a race. My history is not there right
Well,
now, but
I mean, good thing you didn't say that earlier because that was a good hint. Oh, that's wrong. We went backwards somehow.
you are all
I-
sorts of out of whack.
I told you. I
Really?
told you.
It's the salad hat, guys.
65.
I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to show you something with OBS because you can queue up the graphic and then hit the button to transition. I'm going to show you.
Yes, please. I have no idea how to use OBS. I am an old man. I just get by barely each week doing this.
You know, I never paid attention to how you changed the scenes until now, and I
Oh, it's a
wish I
mess.
knew. I wish I knew beforehand because I could totally help you. Being a streamer, I can help you set this up
Oh, yeah,
so
no.
much easier.
And if I really wanted to, I could spend the time and figure it out. But I really just
Don't want to.
I don't have the time. You know, I'm just so
Yes,
busy
you
working
do.
each day and each week, and man, it takes a lot out of me. But no,
Okay.
the car number that has never led a lap in the NASCAR Cup Series is the 65 car. So yeah, I don't really have any more background on that, but
To which I wonder who the hell has driven a 63 and been good enough to lead a lap.
that's a great question. I don't have that answer.
Rev, where you at, buddy?
I actually
Yeah,
would have
Rebel Port
expected
for us.
63 over 65.
I thought it was a 63, not a 65.
All three of them are numbers that you just don't normally see regardless. Especially, I was thinking of when Richard and I were doing this, of like, I don't know any car in the 60s that has led a lap off the top of my mind.
Let's see.
I can barely name anyone in the 60 other than Timmy Hill in the 66.
The 66 definitely at some point.
Oh,
I mean,
look at
even
this.
just modern day, like there's got to be a pit cycle where at some point the 66 is let a lap.
Dick Trickle ran the 63 back in the day.
He
Okay.
must have led the lap.
Let's see. There's Norm Benning, Chuck Walton, Frank Warren. Trying to find Ronnie Hayes, Randy LaJoy.
Oh boy.
They all ran
Now,
there.
is this throughout all NASCAR or is this only the Cup Series?
Ooh, that's all I
Steven, for
see-
that question.
That question is Cup Series specific,
Okay,
according to my source.
gotcha.
Dick Trickle ran the 63
But yeah,
at
we told you.
least as late as 1996, which is weird to me.
That
Yeah,
is
we
fair.
told you it wasn't going to be an easy question.
No, and the third one is also very difficult. The third one, you're going to take a shot in the dark. Someone's going to Google
yeah.
it probably, but without further ado, I think we should get into our Secret Santa reveals. So I have a little slideshow ready for it, and it goes in numeric number. So we have 12 drivers total. Like I said, there's 11 paints to be shown tonight. We have paints for Josh Anderson, Dustin Stallings, myself, Adam Buzzio, Brendan Maddox, Nicholas Runner, Zachary Maddox. Who else is that? Sorry, far away from my screen. Braxton Skinner, Zachary King, Richard Wolsifer, and Gavin Rogers. So without further ado, let me switch back over. And it's already there on screen. Look at that. Works every time. So this is the 07 car of Josh Anderson that was made by Zachary King. Love the gray wrapping paper feel to it. And
I was gonna say wrapping paper.
yeah,
That looks good. I
perfect
like
wrapping
that one.
paper with the BRB branded on the side of it. And it's hard to see. Let me see if I can get my mouse here. There is a special little banner that Adam had made that we can run. It has Christmas lights on it and the Butt Kicker logo. If drivers that didn't participate in the Secret Santa, if you want to still use this decal for the race, it should be in required decals. Feel free to put it on for the race and this week at Bristol. And then we move on to Dustin Stallings' car. And Dustin Stallings' car was created by, who was it? I don't have my cheat sheet pulled up.
Rip.
Fail.
Before I even want to unveil it, I want to say who it was.
Right. Steven would at 5K today, everybody. Okay, he almost struggled.
almost died.
He almost died.
All right, there it is. Josh Anderson made Dustin Stallings paint. And that is right here.
Ooh,
Beautiful
wow.
spec map on it.
I really like that.
It's like a mix of wrapping paper mixed with the Coca-Cola Christmas theme. I
yeah, that's pretty
think
sharp.
it turned out great.
That is really good. Well done.
So Dustin, I hope you enjoy that one. That one's going to look really good at Bristol this coming week.
The metallic red's gonna be nice in the broadcast. I hope.
That's going to show really well.
I was surprised of how few red cars that we have total. I don't want to spoil anything, but I think this is the only predominantly red one. I think so. Yeah.
Oh, we got a thumbs up from Dustin. He loves it.
Good deal. Yeah, I think that looks
It's-
really, really good.
Yeah, you did a fantastic job on that.
And then we have my paint scheme that was created by Brendan Maddox. Bang. The Holler Podcast.
Dr. Seuss.
I love the Dr. Seuss thing
Absolutely
there.
love
That's
it.
fantastic.
It's a Dr. Seuss themed holler podcast scheme. That's awesome.
That's
It
awesome.
is really neat. I love the font that you went with, Brendan, there. It's really... I was not expecting it to go there, but I'm happy that it did.
That's really
So,
cool.
Great
I like
job
that a lot.
there.
That's clever. Very clever.
And then we move on to Adam Buzzio's, created by
Yours truly.
Richard Wolsifer. And bang, the Ascendance Truck Blizzard. Is that what we want to call it?
Yes.
I love what you did with the snow there. The snow banks or mountains. I call them snow banks.
Hills.
Hills.
And just hills.
Looks like Eastern Tennessee.
Yeah. But we got a
That
a
is-
couple nice touches I did is along the top of the truck on the side there's Christmas lights, and also the shark fin on the back has a candy cane.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Nice little details, and you can't really see it from this photo. You'll be able to see it in race, but yeah, like Richard was saying, some Christmas lights up here along the top of the semi itself. So great
That
job
is-
there, Richard.
That is super cool. The truck on the side. If
It looks perfect.
that is really cool. If it was bigger and had the Ascendance Trucks logo in the like on the hauler, on the trailer, that's the
Yeah.
only way that can be better.
You got to
I
redo
know
it,
how to
Richard.
do resolutions there.
I gotta redo it. I gotta redo it.
I
Sorry.
have the resolutions there to do it, but no, that is that's the most clever thing in my opinion. I used to be a painter for a while for TN Designs, a couple other pages, and I appreciate that a lot. That is really cool.
Also, there's a surprise for everybody to look at the rear of the car. So
We don't
enjoy
have
the
a
back
picture.
of that car. We don't have the picture of it, even though Adam has seen it.
I'm scared.
Oh, you'll love it.
You're gonna love it.
You will love
Especially
it.
you, Andrew. You will love it.
Uh-oh. I'm scared for the broadcast sake. But
It's
No,
all
no,
PG. It's all
NASCAR
PG.
clean.
All I know is Adam's gonna get a ton of screen time because of it. It's fine.
Yes, for sure.
oh boy.
All right, and we move on to Brendan Maddox's paint scheme, who was created by, I believe it was Dustin Stallings. Yes, it was Dustin Stallings created. Bang. Green. Love the green there.
Disney theme there.
The green just really pops. It's just the perfect green in my opinion.
Well, we don't have a lot of green cars either, so
We
that's
don't.
definitely gonna. And honestly, Brendan is the car that I'm used to seeing is green as
Yep.
the Castle IO, the security company that he represents. So that's actually really fitting for Brendan to race next Tuesday at Bristol.
who
That's
did
gonna be
Brendan's?
awesome.
Dustin.
Dustin, awesome. I'm refraining from doing my Mickey Mouse voice. It's hard right now.
Oh, come on. You got to give it to him. Oh, goodness. Oh, but no, great job there. That one's absolutely beautiful. And we move on to Zachary Maddox created one for Nicholas Renner. And that is. Oh. It's not there. Let me see if I can.
What did you do?
I don't know what happened. It was there earlier, and it still
That's
shows.
a fantastic paint. I am dreaming of a white Christmas. Not
It's
gonna
a
lie.
white Christmas
Oh.
scheme. There it is.
That's not it.
Oh, that's not it. Okay.
I don't know what happened to it. Ah, shoot. Technical difficulties. Pause
We'll
it
do it
out.
live.
Yep. I
See,
can-
this is what you get for live podcasting and everything else. You get the natural flow of things, and this is our flow.
So for whatever reason, the image link broke. So I'm gonna have to re-upload it real quick here.
Big X.
Huh?
There was a big X that popped up on the screen for a
Oh.
second.
It's not happy right now. That's for sure.
This guy stinks, John.
Jeez.
It's them little knees, man. It's them little knees.
See, that's what you get for wrecking him coming to the checkered flag there,
He
Steve.
wrecked himself.
He wrecked himself.
All right, there it is.
There we go.
Hey.
Whoa.
Nicholas Renner. I don't know if we can call this the Santa sleigh paint scheme, but the number is going to be difficult to see for the broadcast. I can assure you that. But
Yeah.
I like how it looks and the whole idea of it all.
I like those lights for the number. Yes, it is a little difficult to see, but you know, Toyota. I like the Toyota green though on the hood. That's clever. I really like that. The BRB Racing League straight up. I like the color, the festivity of it. It's all the snow, the lights, the sleigh. That's a very well put together scheme, I think.
Big brain move would have been to make that Toyota emblem red.
That's what
so
I was
Rudolph
thinking.
knows.
Oh
But,
yeah.
Next
but it's
year.
I like this a lot actually. This is a really cool concept. Who did this again?
This was by Zachary Maddox.
This is a really cool concept, Zachary. This is I'll forgive the number being absolutely invisible just for the rest of it.
Hey, there's some outline on it. There's a red and a green outline. You'll be fine. And then we move on to Zachary Maddox's paint scheme, and this was created by Braxton Skinner.
Ooh,
And
the
I went through
33.
and double checked, and all the rest of the photos work, so we're not gonna have that issue again. But Home Alone,
I love it.
That's
tremendous.
Zach's face at Bristol, guaranteed.
Oh, guaranteed. That is it right there. Oh,
Braxton did a
man.
great job with this one. And this is, you can get a little better view of the banner that Adam had made for us with the lights. It just
Oh, yeah,
goes
there you go.
perfect for the Christmas theme there. But another great job by Braxton.
That's a good one. I like
A
it.
nice dark blue we didn't have. We do have a lot of blue, but
Oh, he should have done a Corey LaJoy and put his face over the grill, so that's all I see in my mirror, you know? When he's coming up at me. Oh,
no,
man,
great
that's
there.
great.
Still really good.
That's a
funny.
good one.
And then we have Matthew Erickson made Braxton Skinner's paint, which is next. The Quick Trip 33. This one I didn't know. I haven't painted the new Camrys yet, but I didn't know you could change the color of that grill like
Yeah.
that. I think it looks perfect with the rest of the car.
Well, with
how
the
it looks.
with the gradients, we haven't seen
Yes.
a lot of gradients this year, this season, but they're making a comeback. It looks like, and that was a classic look. I love it.
And then if you see a little bit right there, you can see Santa dabbing in front of
I
a
was
present.
wondering about
That's
that.
what that is.
Yes.
What? Oh man.
It's better than the skibbity toilet, whatever.
I still have no idea. I feel like it's a foreign language that I just don't know. I don't understand these kids these days.
Also, I got to give a
These
quick
days.
shout out real fast. Zach King, you are awesome for getting screenshots of these and posting in the Discord.
Oh yeah, big
Oh,
shout out. Thank
Zach
you.
King getting all these screenshots. Good job, man.
Oh
These
my
are great
gosh. Look at,
shots.
real quick, if you guys are looking at the Discord, look what Braxton Skinner posted about the rear end of
Yes.
Zachary Maddox's car.
He sent that to me, and I died initially when looking at it. And that's going to be in people's nightmares whenever they're
Oh,
behind
man.
them.
All right, you know what? I'm just going to post it also in the Discord, but we can continue. I'm just going to post the you know what.
Oh, goodness. All right. So we have 3 paints left. We move on to Zachary King's paint scheme that was created by myself. I'll let someone else carry it away and take it.
Oh, another green
Okay.
car, K1 Speed. I like the red trim and the red rims. We don't see a lot of colored rims so far, and the red is a very, very nice touch. Very festive. And the lights in the front grille and the front quarter, that's really nice. That's a really well done scheme there, Steven.
And if you
Well,
look
thank you.
even closer, it is an ugly sweater style.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Painstakingly textured each little part to get it to the perfect sweater look-alike. And also the spec map to fit in with the sweater of being a little bit more matte than shiny. But no, I spent way too much time on this. More so than I even make my own paints. Just trying to get it all right. But it was a lot of fun to do. And
Yeah, that's a really good job on that. That's a beautiful car. Zach, I hope you appreciate that one. That is.
it
that's
doesn't
gonna
matter.
be
It's
one of
going to
the
get
pretty-
wrecked.
I like the
It's gonna be
number being
nice.
on that bit of an angle on the door. I like that a lot.
Well, thank you. And we
Christmas
move
lights
on
on the bumper,
to
that's
Richard
cool.
Wolsifers. Richard, are you ready?
I guess so.
Do you know who it was created by?
Heck no, I wasn't paying attention to who's
created
created
by-
what so far.
Gavin Rogers.
Ah,
Oh.
So a Gavin Rogers special here.
ooh.
A nice touch of gold, which he recently changed, and I think it's a great touch to really bring everything else together. You probably are familiar with this design. It is a Simrap Market design.
It is. It's one of the newer ones.
It is. And I think Gavin did a great job with it. It's a good, fun, modern take, I think, on Christmas without being too tacky.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Holy cow.
Pretty cool.
It's making me hungry for Doritos.
No, I love that. Gavin, you did a phenomenal job on
I
that.
like
Holy
that
cow.
gold. That gold is a beautiful touch. You see on the splitter there, the wheels,
Yeah.
the roof number. That is very subtle. I like the little stripes too, just as an accent. That is a very beautiful paint scheme right there.
And then
Nailed the
little extra
gold.
hat.
Gold is really difficult to do.
Yeah,
It
gold
is.
is very difficult to do for painting.
And it's perfect for night races gold. It just doesn't look right during the day. And without further ado, we get into our last paint for the Secret Santa, and it is Gavin Rogers paint, and it was created by Adam Buzzio.
Is this one gonna race?
Supposed to be.
Gavin, I'm gonna call you out. You gotta race.
I think that is his whole point of doing this, is that he is going to end up racing. But
Good.
I hope so, because it is a beautiful car. And it is
Oh,
a
wow.
Sundance pizza machine with Santa holding a pizza and his presents. There are some elves back here, and I think on the rear end of the car too. It's really hard to see from here, but they are all holding and eating slices of pizza.
That's amazing.
So I
Like
think
the split
it's
on the
perfect.
splitter that's red and green.
Oh,
Some great touches there, and like I said, we had a lot of blue cars, but it's another great blue car.
that's another really good car there. That's actually, you see the detail. Look at that. The pizza. They just missing some ice cream because they're. Wait, is it ice cream or something else that they're also number one? And Gavin, help me out here.
Ice cream, burgers, and pizza.
There you go. See, you need like an ice cream bar and some burgers piled up with the pizza, a whole Christmas feast for the worker, for the blue collar worker there.
Oh boy, I have to give Adam a little bit of flack for this paint. When I was putting this car here, the screenshot he sent me, I realized that the roof number was flipped the
Oh,
wrong
no.
way.
Oh,
no.
Double L.
So
Oh,
Adam,
Rev's gonna not be happy with you.
Oh, Adam, better fix it.
figure this out and flip this
Handed
number the
Gavin
wrong
2
way.
L's on his hood, a roof.
I mean, that's what it looks like. That's hilarious.
It's just Adam's way of telling Gavin that he's getting the double L for the race.
Ooh.
But
Oh,
no.
that's a good one though. These are all really good paints, guys. Good job for you.
Yes.
See, if I had any talent or patience, I would have done it. But you guys just amaze me with how much time and effort and patience you guys have when you put into these paints. You guys would put to shame anything I got. So good job, everyone who participated in this Secret Santa. I've never heard of a league doing something like this, and it is exciting to see. So good job, everyone that participated in.
Yeah, this Secret Santa, like, I mean, everybody's, you know, used to Secret Santa gift exchange, but this was kind of a nice little touch to kind of get everybody in the Discord involved, everybody kind of interacting with each other, and just to kind of show appreciation for the other drivers and putting some work and effort into creating a paint scheme that you can be proud of, that the other driver is also going to enjoy and like, and be able to represent your work on the track. It was just kind of a nice little a great Christmas theme and idea for the Christmas race before our break. So thank you for everybody that participated in it. It was actually a lot more than what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So, you know, in a year's time frame, if y'all are still with us, and we hope you guys are, this can return, and it will. So this was such an awesome idea.
I'm super glad we did this, and thank you again for everyone that participated. That's part of what makes this league even more like a family. We have our own Secret Santas. We have our own rivalries, and it's awesome to see some very talented guys here that can create paints and be very creative with very limited knowledge, I think, of everything. I asked everyone to put in some sponsors if you had it, and then basically like your name rails, and everyone just kind of went with it. There was no, oh, they need this, and that on the paint, or they like this, and that. Like, people just went with it and did a great job. So thank you so much for all the participation, and we hope to be doing a bunch of more fun stuff like this in the future too. And we do have a throwback paint coming up this season, but we're not going to do a Secret Santa for that.
It would be cool to do a scheme swap like theme for a week, where you do maybe not like it'd be difficult to get into the rules, I guess, of it, but like a painter. So okay, say I'm all lost here, but say the 5 and the 2, so Buzzio and Borbell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whoever painted your cars has to paint a car for the other person.
Okay, so
I'm just
you're saying
spitballing.
if
Bad
so,
idea.
I make my paints currently, and Adam makes his paints currently. So now I have to make a paint for him. He has to make a paint for me. But like,
Yeah.
would it be a paint that Adam currently runs? Like, would I run his paints? And then
Sure, I'll let you do the working part on that.
Oh, you're gonna make me think. All right.
So okay, I need to ask this, Andrew. You've been at this a long time. I know when I was doing broadcasting and I was doing a lot of commentating, there were drivers that would change their scheme almost on a weekly basis, and that would just confuse the absolute crap out of me. For you up there in the booth and you're going through, especially when you have a lot of action going on, does that confuse you sometimes when you have drivers changing their schemes on a regular basis?
You know, that's a really good question. And I don't know if I'm just lucky. If I have some kind of weird gift where I'm able to like quickly pick up on who's who at the start of a race. I do take like 5 minutes before the broadcast starts to go through on like one of our tower cams and just cycle between every card just to like quickly refresh myself. But I don't know if it's timing and scoring. If I'm lucky, I don't know, but I don't get thrown off too bad. I think my counterpart Zach Murtis, he gets thrown off every once in a while. I think he gets confused from time to time, but it is definitely, it's challenging. I'll say that. Like, it's not easy to just pick up on a paint scheme switch right away. But I don't find I have too much trouble with it. I know it's a challenge for sure, but I don't have too much trouble.
Okay.
That's good to hear, because that's probably my favorite thing to do, is to run a different paint scheme every week and try not to recycle them ever.
Yeah, I've noticed that actually. I
I'm
don't think
sorry.
it's two cards for the same week to week at
I
all.
don't think so.
I love people like Steven who does that. You know, they have a different scheme every week. Me personally, I'm one of those, like, I'll race this different scheme for something special. Like, the scheme that I run primarily is actually it's funny because I'll even go into officials with it on even my B and C class cars. I have the exact same scheme, and people recognize it and recognize me. And if I run something completely different and they see my name, they're like, "Wait a second, aren't you supposed to be in like the black and teal car? Like, why are you not in that?" So, but no, I've kind of fallen in love with the scheme that I primarily run. It's on a lot of cars that I actually run across the service. So, and the Simrat Market does phenomenal work with just the base designs that you can get and color, you know, how you see fit. You can even adjust the wraps as well to how you see. So if you want something removed, you can remove it. They don't care that much. So, but no, seeing people come up with all these different ideas for schemes is so cool.
It's a lot of fun just to pass time every once in a while, and to have a special reason to do it, like a Christmas race or a throwback race, it makes it even more fun. Makes it more worth it. But I'm reading chat, and I have to say and ask, I guess, Andrew, but you're familiar with our Powder Puff race that is going to be occurring next month, correct?
So I did see something about it, and I
Okay.
was thinking about bringing it up to her.
Yeah.
It's already been brought up to her in the
Well,
chat.
I
Yeah.
noticed.
You're going to have
I
to have that
noticed.
serious conversation with her now, because I
Yeah.
think right now we're sitting at 15 signed up. So she can make it 16 and have some fun ripping it around Charlotte in the street stock. We'd love to have her, and we'd love to have y'all's participation. If you want, you're welcome to.
When is it
Yeah.
again?
The race is
Calendar.
the
31st of January.
31st of January. Thank you.
No, and actually, a lot of the wives that are in the Discord now, a lot of them talk on a day-to-day basis. Also, from us starting this racing league and whatnot, like our wives are talking. They became friends, so it's a really awesome thing that we put together. It's so cool.
And
There
again,
is no
that's,
broadcast scheduled that day, so
Oh,
it's wide open. I guess
Alright.
I'll let her call her shot if she wants to race. She's in the YouTube chat.
all right, get the wives in here. Peer pressure. Let's go.
let's go.
And this goes,
Let's go.
good transition to that is a reminder of the Powder Puff podcast on the January 30th, the day before the race. Richard's wife, my wife, and Carl's wife will be here talking about God knows what. Not going to give them
We
a
will
script.
not be around.
Nope. I'm going to sit my wife at my computer, hit start, and I'm going to go do something else. And they're going to be doing their own thing for God knows how long. So be sure to tune into that very special episode January 30th. And then on January 31st, the Friday, the day after the podcast, will be the Powder Puff Takeover race. Don't know how many laps yet, but it will be street stocks at Charlotte Motor Speedway. A little bit more difficult than last year, I think, with the Miatas at Bristol. You have a little bit more powerful of a car, not by much, but we're just trying to scale it up a little bit. And the plan for that right now is for that race to be actually broadcasted by yours truly, Richard Wilson for Stephen Borbell and Carl Pooler, with the help of Rev, all knock on wood there, on the YouTube channel of the Holler Podcast. That is the plan for now, and that race should begin at 9 p.m. Eastern. So if your wife, your mother, your grandmother, your sister, your aunt, your mother-in-law, whatever woman in your life, if they want to race or you want them to race, get with them, confirm that, and then sign them up in the Discord in announcements. There is a Google form that if you can fill out for them, it's going to ask very simple questions. Fill it out, get it submitted, and we'll get you in the race. Whew.
You
Anything
good?
That's how I feel at the end of a broadcast.
I can imagine. I can't talk much. I don't like talking, and I run out of breath easily. I don't.
Well,
Well, it's a
do a good job.
podcast, though.
Yeah.
It was a stupid
Well,
idea
okay.
creating it. Let's just.
Let's
It was
another
a
thing.
joint idea, okay?
So another thing, Steven, you say you don't like talking and all this, and Andrew, you Iron Man last Tuesday with by yourself commenting. I know sometimes when I have other broadcasts, I know Richard and you and I got together a couple weeks ago on Wednesday to broadcast, and even that was kind of tiring. How do you do that with by yourself? Because I know me personally, I like to try and feed off of that other individual to really kind of build a conversation. Do you kind of, and again, I haven't watched the Kansas race, but do you kind of bounce off yourself, talk to yourself about the race through the whole thing?
You definitely have to use a little bit of imagination. You definitely have to imagine you're having a conversation with a wall. I will say production is easy compared to talking by yourself for a 2-3 hour broadcast. Thankfully, I get some practice at it in the real world too, doing short track stuff with Pit Road TV. So like I've done Carolina Pro Late Model broadcasts solo, Carolina Crate Modifieds, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's not easy. I don't know. Honestly, whenever somebody asks how I decided I wanted to broadcast or whatever, I always go back to playing with my little 164 diecast cars on the floor as a kid, and even at whatever age, I imagined I was Larry McReynolds or Darrell Waltrip or Mike Joy. Mike Joy especially, he's an idol of mine. And I would commentate these races for some reason as a kid. And I don't know, I'm not like God's gift to broadcasting or anything, but I feel like that's where I got started and helped me a lot to be able to talk on my own for 2.5-3 hours for sure.
Broadcasting is a lot of fun. I actually kind of found my voice in it from streaming Valorant. I would randomly queue up and tell people like, "Hey everybody, how's it going?" And everyone's like, "Holy cow, you sound like a radio host or something." So
You've got a voice for
I kind of
radio.
I know, right?
And a face for radio too.
Hey, I got a face for radio, man. But I've always had people tell me like I need to get into the racing commentating side, but I just enjoy being in the car too much. So, but I decided on Wednesday nights that I was going to take a step back and try it out, and I've been having fun. It is a lot of fun, but I was not looking forward to last week doing it alone, so that's why I was like, Carl, you're doing this with me.
And I said, "Oh shucks, you got me."
I applaud you for doing it by yourself,
And all
Andrew.
I'm
That
gonna
was
say
incredible.
Is to that broadcast that y'all had last week, Carl and Richard. It was really fitting that y'all did the broadcast and Gavin won.
It couldn't have been more
Right?
perfect.
It was really awesome to see, and yeah, I hope to see more of that.
And that was on Freaky Fast, right?
Yeah, that was
That
on
is correct.
Freaky Fast.
I want to give a shout out to Robert Moyer, Buddies Racing. I've seen him on iRacing, or in Discord, in different, like the ATVO Discord, for example. ATVO being the software we use to broadcast with.
Mhm.
And it's cool to see him get into his racing side and join BRB and get after it with you guys as a broadcaster. It's something I wish I could do more often. So I'm kind of living vicariously through him a little bit, just a tad, because I wish I was racing sometimes. But props to him.
Yeah, and we love having those freaky fast guys around. I feel like we've known, especially Carl, probably more so than the rest of us, but we've had good relationships with Sam and Robert for a couple of years now at this point.
Yeah.
And to have them both join us in racing full time is really awesome to see.
Yeah, on and off broadcasting us, and then now they're joining us on the track. So no, they're a great group of guys. Glad to have them here in the league.
And Andrew, I know that we talked before this and that you had somewhat limited time. Before you leave us for the night, I want to make sure we can do the Sundance Pizza sit down with you. are you okay
yes.
with going through these grueling questions and giving us the real answers?
Sure. I don't know what this means, but sure. I'm gonna learn real quick, I guess.
So we
It's
have
the
a
Sundance
guest
Pizza.
segment.
Sit down.
Oh God, you do not have a voice for the music radio.
Hey, you know, I wasn't even trying to sing. I can actually sing really well, but we're gonna digress.
Ooh, karaoke time. Let's
We
do
have
this.
a little guest segment for when we get a guest on the podcast that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions that we're going to ask you just to get to know you, to let everyone in the league know just a little bit about you, who you are behind as just a broadcaster or just a racer or whatever it is. So to get us started, where are you from and what is your day job? I know you talked a little bit about your day job, but give us a little bit more.
So I'm originally from Bullhead City, Arizona, which is not far from Wickenburg, and Sundance Pizza. I'm gonna have to get back out there at some point and go try it. But originally from Bullhead City, Arizona, I claim Independence, California, as my hometown. It's a little town of about 600, if even that. My high school graduating class was 7 total.
Wow.
Yeah, 7 total, including myself. And it's a tiny little town in California. You don't find many like it. My day job, I'm actually a pharmacy technician at CVS,
Oh,
which
really?
I think
Never
always
mind.
surprises people, especially with the beard and everything. It's not normal in a pharmacy, I feel like.
I got a
I think
question
that-
for you after you're done.
Sure.
Uh-oh.
Well, go ahead.
Do you know Omnicell?
Don't.
Okay, never mind.
Okay.
It's
Sorry to
it's
disappoint.
it's a pharmacy automation and storage unit company.
Okay.
I'm a
I've
technician for
probably
them.
s-
That's why.
They
I've
regulate what
probably
you can
seen
give
the
people.
logo. I've probably seen the logo.
Possibly.
Because I it's not a completely foreign like name or word to me, but I don't like. If you asked me what it was, I wouldn't have been able to tell you.
Okay.
But
We don't
I,
usually have them in CVS's. That's why I was wondering.
Gotcha. that'll do it. I do also I work for Pit Road TV as a contractor. That's a lot of fun. So I've actually done some work for Pit Row. I've done some work that ends up going on Flow. So that's my other day job. I guess got 2.
How often do you
Um,
get to do that side of everything?
This time of year, pretty infrequently. My next gig with them is likely going to be Daytona Kart Week down at Daytona at the end of this month. And it sounds like I might be doing more than just working a camera. It sounds like maybe I'll be holding a microphone for that, so that could be fun.
Oh, exciting!
Yeah.
Keep us updated on that.
and I 100% will. But yeah, this time of year it's pretty infrequent, but during the summer it's most weekends. I mean, you can ask Kayla in the YouTube chat. It's it's most weekends, and she loves it but hates it at the same time because I think she enjoys that every once in a while even she gets to go to the racetrack and take Drew along with, but also hates that I'm gone most weekends because obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, to answer your question, originally Bullhead City, and then Independence is what I claim because that's where I grew up for the most part. And I work at CVS and Pit Row TV.
I would have never guessed that you're from the West Coast or that you live in the West Coast.
Really?
I just had the assumption, I guess.
Well, I'm East Coast now.
Oh, okay.
I'm East Coast now. I should have included that.
Well, that too. I still would have never guessed that you're even from the West Coast to begin with.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm in North Carolina now,
Gotcha.
Catawba County. So it's been a big change for me. I actually moved from Independence to North Carolina straight out of high school. I worked for like 4 months at a travel plaza there in Independence, and then decided with like $1,500 and a broken down Chevy Blazer, I was going to go across the country.
Wow. What
So-
made you want to make that move? Was it to find the industry of
Yep.
stock car racing
Yeah, racing.
or racing in general?
Yeah.
That's very cool, and you have a lot more gall or ability to do something like that, or confidence that it'll even work out. I don't think half of us could do that, if not more. So
It
mad
was-
respect there.
it would not have been possible without my buddy David Levine. I'm gonna make sure he watches his back because it would not have been possible without him. But yeah, it was difficult.
Well, we're glad that you're on the good side of the country now and doing good things. But that gets me to our next question. So obviously, being the racing fan that you are, I take it that you're into NASCAR as well.
Oh yeah.
So awesome. So who is your favorite NASCAR driver? One of those.
Joey Logano. Now it's Joey Logano. Definitely was Dale Jr. for the longest time.
Okay.
Of course, he retired, but still runs the random Xfinity race and now the random late model race. But it's Joey Logano now. I had a friend that I lost to suicide actually on October 22nd.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And it was at a time where I was league racing on Xbox with the number 22 just randomly, and it just felt like there was a reason that I was in the 22. It was the 20 seconds that just became a significant date to me. And so even before like the Matt Kenseth drama, I just gravitated towards a 22. And then with the Matt Kenseth drama, I love that I picked the opposite side of everybody else because I get to laugh when everybody gets mad about it. And I'm like, yeah, Matt Kenseth was blocking and Joey sent him. And then, of course, they get to laugh at me because then Matt retaliated, which, I mean, fair enough.
One of the most famous retaliations in NASCAR history.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's kind of a dark spot to get started there. But I just kind of gravitated towards a 22 by circumstance and then really ended up sticking with Joey Logano. Yeah, I like that he's controversial. I like that he pisses people off.
He does just that. And there's only one other person that I really even know that likes Joey Logano besides Julie. I'm talking about obviously Gavin Rogers. But you don't find a lot of Joey Logano fans these days. I'm sure in a couple of years, once he becomes a real veteran where he's getting close to retirement, people are going to start turning around on him and starting to like him, just like Kyle Busch. I mean, Denny Hamlin's even starting to turn people around slowly, but it's coming.
I hate to admit that I've become a Denny Hamlin fan. I hate
It's
it.
great to hear. Join the club. Join the club. Welcome in.
I hate it.
It's nothing to be sad about.
You know, I'm enjoying all this info because I'm looking for drivers for future racing and seasons. So I'm testing the waters, as it were. But Joey Logano's not on that list. Sorry.
Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain, Carl. Ross Chastain.
That's okay.
All right, and now we get into. So obviously, you've raced before. You said you were in a league previously. Take us back to how and when you got into iRacing.
When was 2016? The summer of 2016. So I've been around in iRacing now for 8 years. Just it's gone by so fast. I can't believe it's been 8 years. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. But I got into it because of my buddy Zach Lindgren and my buddy David Levine. Both of them were racing in a league that went from Xbox to iRacing. And at the time, I spent a couple years doing the Xbox thing, Xbox 360 with NASCAR 14, the NASCAR 15, NASCAR Heat Evolution, that whole scene.
That tough era of NASCAR video games.
Yeah, and as soon as the switch was made from 15 to Heat Evolution was when I got out and went iRacing pretty much full time. I started on an Xbox controller, pretty similar to this one over here, just a lot cheaper. Pretty similar to that one, just a lot cheaper. And it was scary. It was really scary. Not for me, but for everybody else around me. Yeah, it was scary for me to be on a controller there for a little while. Then I got a belt-driven wheel, one of those Xbox like lap wheels that was garbage, and hit the wall a lot. I got the nickname Wall Crusher for a little while. And then eventually got myself a Logitech wheel, and things turned around a little bit. I got slightly less reckless. But yeah, I still enjoy racing. I don't do it very often. I mostly just run laps for like cameras and whatnot. But I still race on occasion. I like to endurance race these days. I like to rallycross race, that kind of thing.
Will you be doing the Daytona 24 coming up?
Maybe.
If you do, what car are you racing it in?
I would like to run a GTP or LMP2. So I like the prototypes. I'm probably most capable in a GT3 car, but I hate how like heavy they are.
Fair.
Mostly for the bus stop. I hate the bus stop in a GT3 car because you pitch it one way into the corner, grab the wheel and do it. Pitch it one way into the corner, and when you come back over, all of that weight shifts and it keeps rotating, and you're in the wall pretty quick. I hate it, but I don't know if I can. My son's birthday is the 22nd. The race is the 25th. We're looking for a date to host the party. It's either going to be the 18th or the 25th. So it's going to be tough.
I mean, I'm not going to promise anything, but all I'm going to say is reach out to either Carl, Richard, or myself. I'm sure we can figure something out. Even if Carl and Richard can't, I'm sure I can figure something out for you. Even if you have a specific time slot that you can only participate in, we can figure something out.
I'm down.
Yeah, we've got one full team already. That's me, Carl, Gavin, and Adam, and we got a second team that is forming with Steven and Jared, and they are currently looking for drivers as well.
Fair enough.
So
if it all pans out, man, we'll see.
Alrighty, sounds good. We'll touch base there on that, but I don't know what you've seen previously in the Holler podcast, but I'm not an endurance guy. I've run one 24-hour race before, and Richard and Carl think I've never done it before. I know what I'm getting myself into here, but
it's tough.
Jared neither. I don't think Jared's done an endurance race either, so we're both trying to figure this out as we go.
It is tough, but it is so much fun. You get a bunch of guys you want to talk with and race with through 24 hours, and you're all focused on a single goal. I mean, I think, Richard, you, Adam, and Gavin, our first 24 last year, we finished, 20-some laps down, but we had so much fun. It was such a blast to get together and do it. And then we did it again for Spa. So, and then with the weather, with the the rain that comes in, who knows what could happen. So I'm excited. You should definitely, Andrew, if you do have the ability, hit us up. We can find a spot for you.
Sounds good. Yeah, you have to get over the lap down number pretty quick because unless you're one of those top teams, unless you get lucky with a split, you have to get over that number really, really quick or you get insulted because it's the smallest of things will take you out for a couple of laps, or you just rack up a couple of spins, a couple of incidents, get a penalty, here and there. And it's easy to get a couple of laps down pretty quick, but it's so much fun. When you're able to get the right group of guys together and just go after it for 12, 24 hours, even the 6 hours Watkins Glen, it's so much fun.
I'm looking forward to it, and we'll see if I ever want to do it again after that weekend. But so the fact that you're not racing with us in our league, I don't know what number you were, but you said you used to run 22. Would you say that's still your number that you would run to this day?
I've actually changed.
Okay.
Up until recently, I would say yes. The 22 is my number for a long time. I recently put that one to bed, and I've actually started to drive the 4.
And why is that?
So it actually, when my son was born, we decided to name him after me. I'm named after my father. My father's named after his father, and he is named after his father. So I'm the 4th.
There you go.
And my son is the 5th.
Me too. The 4th.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm Richard Wolfs for the 4th.
Do you have a middle name?
Alan.
I don't.
Oh.
Yeah.
Collective gasp.
So when I say my full name is Andrew Cardinale the 4th, it really is Andrew Cardinale the 4th. I don't get that middle name privilege, but yeah. So I like thinking about him getting into racing. Hopefully one day, what number would we maybe make him? Obviously he can have his choice, but if it was up to us, at least me, I'd make him the 5. He's the 5th,
sense.
so number 5. So then thinking about that, I was like, well, why wouldn't I be number 4? if he's gonna be number 5, I guess I should be number 4. So yeah, I changed it up last couple of years, but for a long time, 22 for sure.
Well, I like that you have reasons for both numbers, and that's really unique.
Yeah.
To fit the 4th perfectly like that, though, too. Got 2 questions left for you.
Okay.
So we got, what are your favorite and least favorite tracks to race in iRacing? This could be road courses. This could be NASCAR ovals. This could be the figure 8 for all I care. Let us have it.
My favorite is Le Mans. Le Mans is just so much fun in the right car, in any car really, I think. But a car that's fast enough to make the straightaways go by quick enough, but also slow enough to be able to actually race, I feel like is the sweet spot. But the prototypes are so much fun there. Anything you take there, I feel like is going to be a good time. So many good corners. So I think my favorite would probably be Le Mans. My least favorite, up until the update, I would have said New Hampshire, but I took some laps there yesterday and the day prior, and it isn't as murderous. So maybe it's less of a hellhole to go race.
No, you haven't gotten to see us race on that track. You don't want to see us race on that track.
Dude, it's so difficult.
New Hampshire.
The corners are just crazy. I like the exit of the corner is just crazy. I don't know why there's so little grip. I'll never understand. But my least favorite track. That's a really good question. Probably. Hang on. The one that comes up is Spa. I don't like Spa.
Really? Why is that?
I have never liked the track limits there. I've never liked the flow of the course. Aside from La Course and Eau Rouge are fun, but that's a very small portion of the racetrack. I don't like anything else on it. I never have. I hate broadcasting it. I hate to admit it, but I don't like broadcasting Spa. A lot of road leagues love to always include Spa, and I cringe every single time. But yeah, I don't like it. I don't know what it is about it, but I don't.
You know what,
like the
Andrew?
flow.
I'm gonna kind of add on to that. Is I didn't like Spa. It is a very long course, and there's no rhythm to it. You have the 3-4 different sections, and they're all different from each other. You have high-speed sections, you have slow-speed sections, you have technical sections. Then you have another section that's kind of a mix of the 3, and it's not a rhythm. It's almost impossible to get 22 corners. All of those corners, all perfect for one good lap.
Yeah.
It is a very difficult, and like you said, those track limits are kind of ridiculous. Like you get your inside tires on the line, and that's an off track. So I definitely see where you're coming from Spa. But after doing the 24 this last year, I'm warming up to it as a driver. But I can't imagine broadcasting or commenting on a track like Spa. That would be not a good situation for me.
It's just not very good for wheel-to-wheel racing, in my opinion. And maybe that's why Formula 1 there is bearable, because you don't expect wheel-to-wheel racing in Formula 1 anymore, or really ever. But it's not a place I really enjoy that much. There isn't any track that I absolutely loathe, but Spa I think comes up as one that'd be my least favorite.
Did not expect those answers at all. I think those are the first 2 road courses ever for that question.
Really?
I do think
Andrew is breaking barriers.
Yeah, you're over here
all over
dropping
tonight.
knowledge.
I can try to think of a couple of ovals. I ran a league race earlier this year at Darlington, and I used to absolutely hate racing Darlington, but I finished second, and in my opinion, should have won the race. So I dislike it less, but that would have previously been my least favorite track to race. I don't know why I raced it if I didn't like it. Yeah, it's it's fun. I give you that. Fun to lap. Racing is a different story. I think it's challenging, but favorite oval to race. Honestly, might be Southern National Motorsports Park. Really high banks.
I love that track in the street stocks of
Yes.
back in the street stock rookie days for everyone that had to go up through all the whatever the classes. That was the best time. So much fun.
Yeah, it's a really cool track. Haven't been there yet in person, which is crazy because I've been all over the state and all these different short tracks. But that's one I still have to cross off the list.
Where is that track?
Lucama, North Carolina, or Kenley, North Carolina. So the eastern half of the state.
Good to know. I don't know where a lot of those short tracks are, just because I didn't grow up in the area and learning
Yeah.
about them. I think the only one I know, South Boston, is in Virginia. Is that correct?
Yep.
Which
South
is
Boston, Virginia.
blew my mind when I found that out. Ugh.
And it's very nearly North Carolina. It's actually like 20 miles from being in North Carolina by road
Okay.
and even less by air.
That's wild. South
yeah.
Boston, but we're not anywhere near it.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's very Southern Virginia, as is Martinsville and Virginia International Raceway. I've been to
Mhm.
all three in just this past year, except for Sobo was 2 years ago. But yeah, it's a cool track. It's in Southern Virginia for sure.
I'm gonna have to get time to go visit all of those little short tracks nearby, but
Where do you live?
Eastern Tennessee, Johnson City.
Okay, so you're right by Newport. I was in your neck of the woods very recently.
I believe so. I remembered you saying, because Newport I think is an hour from me.
If that,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah, if
He's
that.
20 minutes from Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah, 20 minutes from Bristol, 25 minutes from Virginia, 30
there's
minutes
Kingsport
from North
there as well.
Carolina. Yeah, like everything's super close by. Still just trying to get to know the lay of the land out here versus elsewhere. But yeah, definitely I'm trying to go to, was it Bowman Gray for the Clash?
Yep.
And then also
Rolex with me in January.
that. I want to go to Rockingham for the Xfinity and the truck races this coming season. I've always wanted to go to Rockingham.
You know, I've been there. I'm shocked they're gonna run NASCAR races there again.
Have you been
the-
to it since they redid it, or like the repave of sorts?
No, I
Okay.
was there prior, which is why I'm shocked. They have done a lot of work, and like I tip my cap to them. But the state that track was in, it's shocking to me that they're able to run races there in what 5 months.
Yeah, coming up.
That's crazy. I mean, props to them. Seriously, I don't want to sound like I'm just bad mouthing the track.
Well, I mean, people would say that about North Wilkesboro beforehand. Like, I mean, look at it.
Yeah.
It was a complete dump before
Yeah.
Dale Jr. wanted to revitalize it and get iRacing just to scan it, and then look what came out of that.
And that was the whole point of it also. He just wanted iRacing to scan it so we could have it in the sim and we could drive it whenever we want. And then it just kind of blew up into like, let's just revitalize the track now. Let's just have people actually race there.
Well, I mean, let's
Which-
also look at iRacing for the Chicago Street Course. iRacing went out there and said, okay, we're going to scan this course and see what happens. The first time we're going to test it, we're going to let the pros test it on iRacing, and then look what happened. It's 2 years and going into 3 years now strong, and it's produced great racing both years when everyone said it's not going to work. So iRacing, not only in terms of bringing the community together and everything else, they are almost revolutionizing how the racing industry approaches a new track, a new setup, a new way of looking at things. So that's just one more thing that this community is great for.
Not almost. I would say they are. And I've been lucky enough to practice a trade show version of iRacing where I was able to get to, and maybe they don't want me to say this, but there's a scan in the trade show version of the Auto Club short track. And the work done was really, really cool. So maybe that isn't public knowledge. I don't know, but
that's
I've
awesome. though.
never heard
That
anything
is
about it. That is
awesome.
You heard it
seen a
here
little bit,
first.
and
I
I'm
know.
probably gonna find a way to get
We're
rid of it
moving
if
this.
they ever hear about it.
removing this
Um,
section.
Yeah, but the work they've done. They worked on Atlanta, so I was there before and after, and their work there is phenomenal.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like it. Fair enough, but it's cool for what it is. They worked on Atlanta. They developed the Chicago Street Course, the Auto Club Short Track, if that ever happens. There is a version of it built in iRacing somewhere. I'm trying to think of what else. I'm sure they were a part of North Wilkesboro in some regard. And who knows? Honestly, who knows where that could be taken? I'm sure whatever street course happens after Chicago, I'd imagine there's gonna be another city they go to. I'm very certain iRacing will be part of that.
Yeah, undoubtedly. It's a great baseline for NASCAR to even look at. And is it possible? Well, according to the sim and the data that we have, it is possible. It can always vary a little bit, but it's at least gets them the foot in the door. And going back to Rockingham, I'm just hoping that Cup Series can go to Rockingham sometime soon.
One day.
One day soon. I will get
we
to
on the
live
final
my
exciting
childhood dream. We are on the final exciting question. My favorite question has nothing to do with racing.
I'm scared.
Don't be scared.
You should be.
Based
Be
off
afraid.
of
Be very
your fiance
afraid.
in chat, I feel like I have the answer to one of these questions, or one of the part one of it question.
Okay.
But it is: you're on a long road trip and you stop at a gas station. What drink and what snack are you grabbing?
Definitely a Rockstar. Do I have a can around? I don't have a can around.
How could
She can bring me one maybe, but
She can bring me one, maybe.
I'll let her decide if she wants to be on the camera. But yeah, a Rockstar, not the normal one, but the fruit punch juiced one. It's much better. As far as a snack, that's a good question. This time of year would be a Christmas tree cake.
Oh, good choice, actually. So good.
Normal time of year.
Is that
maybe a
something you could
zebra
buy at a
cake.
gas
Is
station?
that-
Mhm.
Yeah,
They sell
Oh, I don't think
the
I've ever seen.
individually
Oh, interesting.
yeah,
and 2-packs.
yeah. I mean, they're overpriced, but worth it.
What is
I mean,
it?
I buy Pop
It's a
Tarts
gas
from a gas
station.
station
Yeah.
sometimes. So $3
but
for
if
a
you're
pack of
looking-
Pop Tarts is
Paying
nuts.
for the convenience.
If you're looking for like a
Convenience store.
savory snack, recently the Frito Twists, the
those
barbecue
barbecue
ones,
ones?
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are good.
Oh, she's trying to avoid the camera, but here it is. Rockstar Punched. I live off of these things. I've gotten to where I
Right.
get up so early in the morning for work and broadcast until so late that to avoid falling asleep, I have to have one of these.
Just one?
Yeah, I save it for the broadcast.
Ah.
It's not that the racing puts me to sleep. I promise. Genuinely, I promise. I wake up at 8 in the morning, and I know that's not super early. It's early enough
That's
for me
early.
at 24. It's early enough, and to be up still at 11 o'clock broadcasting, it takes a lot.
24.
Yeah.
Man.
Kayla is a
young
rock star
buck.
for bringing the rock star for us to see.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah,
Yes.
there you go.
Avoiding the camera and everything. She got some incredible. But yeah, these things keep me alive.
Keep you alive for now until you get a little bit older, and it's going to need more caffeine to keep you going.
Yeah. Well, I've graduated. I used to be a Monster guy.
Oh, you're growing up.
Yeah, a little bit. I used to be a Monster guy. Then I went to NOS for a little bit because there's a
Mm.
higher caffeine content, and not by much, but I believe there's higher. Anyways, then I went to the Rockstars because they're a much higher caffeine content because it
Are
got
they
more
the
Monster
200
than
milligrams?
240, I think.
Oh, okay.
Where is it?
Pretty soon you'll be drinking
Yeah,
Bang
240.
Energies.
I drank Bang before it was cool.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't like them.
No, they're
I'm
terrible.
sorry, Bang. Not
Well,
my thing.
I'm pretty
Oh,
sure
I'm
they're-
gonna have to ask
wait.
about the Lifesaver gummies.
They went out of business.
yes, she just reminded me. I completely forgot about those things. Lifesaver gummies are the best thing ever. Gas station snack. There it is. I completely forgot about those things.
That's interesting. Those, very nostalgic, I feel like.
Mhm.
They're an old person candy that isn't a hard candy, if that makes sense. That's how I picture
Yes,
them.
the gummy,
That's my thought.
But they're so good, man.
They
And
are
they have
fine.
a fusion flavor, like a bunch of fruit, different. Yeah, they got a bunch of good flavors.
That one caught me by surprise. I was on board with all of your answers until we get to the Lifesaver gummies. I mean, hey, I'm not hating on them. I'm not hating on your choices, but I'm just saying.
I promise, they're so good.
Well, see, I definitely back up Andrew because the reason I don't buy them because I would buy them by the crate and they'd be gone in like 3 days.
Yep.
Because I absolutely love those things.
Kind of how I am with the high chews that Steven got me hooked on.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like high chews.
Ooh, I don't know if we can be friends or teammates anymore for the 24.
Oh no. My
Endurance dreams scratched.
my boss, if you will, at Pit Row loves them. Tony Stevens loves those things. I don't understand it.
It's like chewing on nothing but something at the same time. It's just honestly great.
Maybe I chose the wrong flavors, but I don't like high
Possible.
chew.
It's possible. We'll have to
get
hook
the
you
sour
up.
watermelon, like
The sour
the little-
ones, and then the
sour
ones
watermelon's
that
really good.
have there's like strawberry milkshake, key lime pie, and candy apple in a bag. That one's actually really good too.
That sounds good.
They're fine. They're not for everyone, and I respect that.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But no, that's the end of our questions. Thank you so much for being real with us for a little bit and allowing us to
Yeah.
get to know you more. And now, anytime someone in our league hears your voice or they know a little bit about you too, and you're not just
There's a
the
face
mystery
to go
man.
with it.
There is a face
There's
to
a
go with
face and a beard and a Santa hat to go with it.
There's a face and a beard to go to the voice now.
Yeah.
And we got to give a
And-
big shout out to Caleb for allowing him to do this as well.
Yes.
To give him the time to come and join us.
I had to do some dishes for it, but I appreciate
Oh,
you allowing
Thank
me
you for the
to,
Compromise.
Andrew.
Compromise.
Appreciate it.
yeah, for real.
But,
Do you guys have any broadcast questions before I go?
oh man, I'm sure. I could
Okay,
think of
what has been your favorite race of the BRB Racing League that you have broadcasted so far?
Eldora.
Ooh.
some. What?
Eldora.
Wow.
That was
It
quick.
was
That makes
so cool.
that makes my
thought.
argument more to bring back dirt racing.
Wasn't that
I-
y'all's first race with us?
That was our second. We did
Okay.
Indianapolis, then Eldora.
Yep.
And maybe part of it was the newness still, like the novelty aspect, but Eldora was a ton of fun. And
A
It
lot of fun
was-
to race.
just long enough, just quick enough. It was like the perfect race length. I don't know who hit the nail on the head with that one, but I would love to see it race hit the schedule for season 4. It'd be really cool
I'm.
to see the
I
racing.
vouch for Eldora so hard.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. The
And there
first
aren't
season we
many
did-
dirt tracks you could do it with either.
Mhm.
no,
You
we've
have to
we've
get the right track. Eldora, you could try Knoxville, but I don't think it would work very well.
you have to
Bristol.
pick a track that has enough banking on it and
Yeah.
it's still wide enough and big enough for the cars because a lot of your dirt tracks are under a half a mile. Eldora is that
Mhm.
right length, it's wide enough and it's got enough banking that these cars can still go fast around it.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
season 1 of the BRB Butt Kicker Cup series, we did Eldora, and I think genuine like for the majority of the people, they enjoyed it and it was a success. Last year when we did it, it seemed like it was a very split decision. You either absolutely
Everybody
loved it or
hated it.
absolutely hated it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it seemed to lean a little bit more towards the hating side of it. So that's interesting to see, and who knows, maybe you just spoke it into existence, and maybe we'll have to actually have a discussion about it next season.
I would love to see it happen again. That'd be a good way to guarantee Pit Stop TV is around for season 4. I'm kidding.
Don't try to sway me like that.
You keep making my arguments better.
Yeah, no, Eldora was just so much fun. I could go back and relive that broadcast happily. It was a good one. Any other broadcast question?
I wish I had something.
I don't have any.
What is your okay, I can
Please,
take
Carl.
your time up if you're gonna ask this. What is your most favorite part of broadcasting that you look forward to? What brings you out every night to broadcast these races for all of these drivers? You mentioned you like to get more driving time, but you keep coming back. You keep broadcasting for these leagues. What is your most favorite aspect of broadcasting all these races over all of these leagues?
That is a stellar question. That is a really, really solid question. I think it's just a little bit of the enjoyment of, like, just the base enjoyment factor of broadcast. You have to be a crazy person, I guess, to do it. Like, there has to be that passion, because burnout is super easy. And actually, another broadcaster messaged me today, a broadcaster that uses our cameras, messaged me today saying he's getting burnt out. And it's super easy to have happen. I experience it pretty often, actually. There's so much work that goes in for so little reward. You have to be passionate about it. And I think I've put in, not to toot my own horn, but I think I've put in quite a bit of work on the iRacing side, the real world side, to make it my shtick. I find enjoyment from it. Talking about race cars is just a lot of fun to me. I want to be the best. I want to be better with every show, and I want to make it my career one day, ideally. Ideally on a national level, international level. I mean, it'd be amazing to go that far, but there's just something about it that brings me back every time. Even though, I mean, Kayla can vouch for me. I hit burnout a lot. There's a lot of times when I wonder why I'm still doing 3 a week sometimes, or 4 a week sometimes, but there's just a certain level of passion there, I feel like, and drive and desire to keep doing it and want to make it something bigger than just iRacing broadcast in a bedroom.
And I think your passion is shown very well on your broadcast that you do. I truly think from the bottom of my heart that you do a tremendous job. Your voice is right up there with a national level broadcast, I truly think. In the same way that I think that realistically Gavin has a chance to do this professionally, I think you do as well, in an equal respect. So we hope nothing for the best, but the best for that. And hopefully you can get there one day. And
I appreciate it.
Support you, of course.
I really do. I don't take compliments like that lightly, because I mean, there's a reason that it's being said, right? And it's nice to hear that kind of thing, because like I said, burnout is super easy. It's super common doing this. I'm sure Richard and Carl, you guys could probably back me up here. Like, it's not easy. And if you imagine doing it 3 or 4 times a week for 52 weeks out of the year, it stacks up.
Well, yeah, and be honest, I was on the light side of things. I was primary commentator. I was just commentating. Robert Moyer was doing the producing for Freaky Fast, and it's crazy because that's how I met these guys at Adam, Steven, Gavin, because we came on board and we broadcasted for, I think, a couple seasons for the old Wicked Racing League, and watching those and that's where I'm kind of the weak-willed, and I respect you even so much more, Andrew, when you mentioned how much more you want to race, where I saw these guys racing and saw the product they were building, and I was like, you know what, I want to race more than I want to broadcast. And so I transitioned, and so you staying in that broadcast booth, it just means that much more. It is you find that passion, you find that, and you have that ability to make people feel like they're in the race. I have been able to go back, watch the races, and I'm like, man, I know I watched the race. I know I was racing the race. And sometimes when I watch your broadcast and I play it back, I'm like, I get even more excited. I'm like, man, I can't wait till next Tuesday. I want to get in there. I want to get racing again, because you bring that excitement. You bring that passion. You bring that energy. And all you make me want to do is go race again, race harder, go get that one position. And I cannot do anything but applaud you. You keep doing what you're doing, and trust me, we will find you on Flow TV. I will find you anywhere you are, because you have that ability, you have that talent. So you keep it up, man.
I appreciate it. I really do. That means a lot to me, genuinely. And yeah, the drive is there. The hope is to one day be somewhere, no offense, but larger than iRacing broadcasts.
No,
You're
You're
not
not
offending
offending
Yeah.
anybody.
Like, are you serious? We do this just for fun, like.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea is definitely to get somewhere bigger and better. And I've done a little bit of the short track broadcasting with a mic this past year. I'm very thankful that Pit Road TV trusted me with a mic at several races this season. I did pretty much all of Southeast Super Trucks, which included that race at Newport, Stephen. That was right up your alley. I did Carolina Pro Late Models and Carolina Crate Modifieds a little bit this past year, hoping to do more, hoping to do Kart Week. And I feel like there was, at one point, a tangent where maybe I could have ended up doing some Cars Tour stuff. I used to direct those broadcasts, which we've talked about, all the announcing and the iRacing producing and whatnot. My real world stuff, I used to direct the Cars Tour broadcast. I used to be a camera operator. I still am for several things. So the flow comment got to me a little bit, in a good way, trust me. But it just hit my brain, I guess. There was a tangent at one point where maybe I could have done that. What's funny about it too is one of our previous commentators, Eric Brennan, is now the voice of the Cars Tour. And
Oh, wow.
I will absolutely always sing that guy's praises. He will be on Fox one day network. He's already on that trajectory. He's already done some ARCA stuff. He's headed to the big leagues.
That's awesome, and hopefully
That is
you're
awesome.
not too far behind him.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
We'll hope. One day.
And not to keep you any longer than we've already kept you over 30 minutes longer, but
Yeah.
when you head down to Daytona, I don't know if you're driving or flying or whatnot, but if you're driving, I live just outside of Savannah, so hit me up. We can grab lunch or something.
Okay. It might be. I don't know yet if I'm flying or driving. We'll figure that out probably in the next day or two. Who knows? But yeah, if that pops up, I'll let you know.
Sounds good, brother.
And Andrew, you do not have to leave. We understand if you do have to leave. That's up to you. But we are not kicking you out. You are still welcome to stay the rest of the show. We don't really have much longer. We just got to really cover next week. But you're welcome to stay. You're welcome to go. Totally up to you.
Well,
And,
I do have a toddler to put to bed.
totally understand.
Right here. This is the challenge of apartment living. He sleeps right there, and I broadcast right here. Yeah, the challenge of apartments. But he's got to go to bed, so I will bow out. But I appreciate being here. Hopefully, I can be here again sometime. Would love to be here anytime. I've really appreciated this and enjoyed this genuinely.
And we've appreciated you getting on here. I'd love to have you and Zach, both of the booth heads. Booth heads? Booth?
I like that.
Heads in the booth?
Voices in
The
the
voices in the
Something
booth.
like that. There you go.
That broadcast us each and every week. Get you
I'm
both
sure we
in
can
here
do that.
together and just have y'all bounce each other through conversation and get everything maybe in the next coming weeks or months or so. Before the end of this season, hopefully we can get
Yeah.
something together.
We do broadcasts a lot of Thursdays.
Okay.
I'm sure we can find one where we don't broadcast and do that. I mean, I can look at my schedule and find something. I'm sure there's got to be a week coming up at some point. But yeah, I think that's definitely possible.
Well, yeah. Whenever you find out specific dates, just send them over to any of us. I guess probably more so me, since I'm responsible for getting those guests. But yeah, just let us know and we'll get something set up in the future.
Sounds good.
Well, again, thank you, Andrew. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Kayla, for allowing us to have Andrew for his time and to getting to know more about him and what he's gone through and where he's going to end up with his future. And thank you for all you do for each week for us. And we love having you guys around.
Absolutely. Good to be here.
Awesome. Well, have a Merry Christmas, Andrew, and we will catch you at Bristol.
Sounds good. Merry Christmas, guys. And yeah, that broadcast at Bristol, Pit Stop TV. If for some reason you just watch the podcast or you don't watch the broadcast, I'm not offended. But it would be cool if you did chime in and join us on Tuesday for the race. I'm sure a lot of those watching are either in the race or watch the races, but Pit Stop TV would be very happy to have you watch along Tuesday for Bristol.
Definitely so.
So, anyways, good night, guys. Merry Christmas, and I will
Awesome.
see you again sometime soon.
Sounds great. Thank you again, Andrew.
We'll see you. Thank you.
Goodness. I knew that was going to happen. I knew it. Please,
well, that was our special guest for tonight, guys. Andrew was happy to join us tonight. We were glad to have him. That was awesome. As
this live.
Steven is, we'll allow Steven to fix
I was
these.
going to go into a transition, but we're just going to do it live, and we'll figure it out. Don't worry. Figure
Yeah,
this
okay.
out.
I mean, what's next? We got to talk about next week's race, and then we have the last question.
That is correct.
So that's about all we got.
Next week, we have the Holler Podcast 250 at Bristol Motor Speedway, 250 laps at the world's fastest half mile. And Carl and Richard, take us through what the keys of the race will be.
Patience. I know it's not been our strong suit, but Bristol is one of those tracks where there's no space, and it's 15, 16-second laps. I know I catch myself holding my breath, laps at a time. So it's very quick. It comes at you very fast. Got to keep your head on a swivel. If there's a wreck, even half a track away, you could get caught up in it because everything does happen that fast. It is concrete, high banked, multi-lane. It seems to be on the service lately. We don't know if this update changed anything, but it's going to be one of those races where if you know when to pick your battles, you may end up further up than you might have thought in the beginning of the race.
Yeah, it's definitely a fast half-mile track. It is the fastest, I believe, half-mile track. Concrete track, so we're going to another concrete track to start this season out, from Dover to Bristol. And Isaiah seems to have a knack for concrete tracks. Even Andrew put it out in the broadcast at Dover was he was the king of concrete, it seems, because those are the two races he's won. But yeah, it's tire wear is a thing. Not so much in IRL as we noticed the last time they raced there, but it's just trying to stay out of traffic, because it's not going to be like Martinsville where everyone's going to stay decently close with each other. The race will spread out, and we'll have a lot of drivers go a lap down at Bristol. That's just the nature of Bristol. Look at Kyle Larson lapped over well over half the field, I think, last year, right?
Well, they did
This
have
past
long
season.
green runs. I
They
don't
did.
know if we're going to get there.
So
We'll see.
I mean, we still could. I mean, it's possible if people put the practice in and the time in, we could have very much long green flag runs. So it's definitely one of those tracks that you might feel discouraged about in the race, because you might be getting lapped 1, 2, or 3 times. But it's keep it going, keep the head up. Like it's just got to learn. Like Bristol's one of those, you just have to figure it out quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, y'all said it perfectly. Tire saving is a really big thing at Bristol. It's really easy to get into the mindset of, especially if you don't qualify well, you're already really close to going a lap down from the beginning of the race, and trying to get through the field and put in as fast laps as possible. And you can put in about 10 really quick laps, then the tires just fall apart. You can't turn in the corners anymore. It doesn't matter if you try top line, bottom line, you're going to be losing 0.3 to half a second a lap. And then you'll be lapped in another 10 or 15 laps. It can get into a snowball effect, because especially if you get lapped at Bristol, you're not going to get that lucky dog with how many people are going to get lapped. I'd be surprised if we have more than 10 people finish the race on the lead lap, even with cautions. But that is my concern, is cautions. Typically, Bristol, we do have less cautions than a traditional short track race, but with 35 plus cars out there, there's not a lot of room, and mistakes happen. And they come fast, and especially if some person doesn't hold their brakes. I'm not going to say who, after getting wrecked, but it could easily have 10, 15 cars in it. But looking forward to the Bristol race. Always love the Bristol race. Each and every season, and I'm glad we're doing 250 laps instead of 200. 200 just doesn't seem enough at Bristol. They go by way too quickly to do 200, but I don't know what stages are. I'm trying to think. If I had to guess, I would say there's 75, 150, and then 250, but that is not official. Don't take that for
Let me
everything.
see. Let's go to race info. I think
I got you.
uh,
It
that-
is lap 50 and 100 for
Okay.
a total of 200 laps. Is it 200 laps?
It's 250. I do remember that wasn't a little typo at first.
No, well, yeah, in race info, I can back up Richard on this. It does say 50, 100, and then 200. So I think we need to go into the race info and maybe edit that. So I think we need to revisit that. But I think another thing that happens at Bristol is, you mentioned it, Steven, it is very quick. And on top of that, with as many drivers as we have, that actually maybe exaggerates how much patience you need to have, because within the first 20, 25 laps, you're catching up to lap traffic already. And so you don't want to get into the lap traffic and, try shoving your way through and make a wrong move, wreck a lap car, and that lap car wrecks you. That ruins your race. So Bristol is definitely one of those tracks where you always need to be conscious where you are, where your opponents are, and where your competitors are, and knowing how they race too. Are they going to stay along the high line depending on the run, or they're going to go down low, or is turn 1 and 2 different than 3 and 4? There's so many factors that go into Bristol, and you have 2 seconds to think about it before the next corner. And it's going to be one of those situations where I wouldn't, and this is going to be kind of an oxymoron, I wouldn't be surprised if Bristol surprises us and we have our least amount of cautions for the season. Because I remember, I think it was season 1 where we went to Bristol and everyone's expecting a caution fest, and I think we had a total of 3-4 cautions out of 200 laps. So you never know what Bristol can bring. It is the last great Coliseum, and we drivers are going to be battling it out for 250 laps.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time, and you will definitely want to be sure to tune into Pit Stop TV to catch that whole race. There's a question of it's single or dual pit road. Tonight's practice was set on dual, and I do think that is how the race is going to be set up. In the past, when we've run Bristol, we have run dual pit road, and conversation to change that has not been made. So just based off that assumption, it should be set to dual. And for those that don't know, dual pit road is just you don't have to go through both sides. When you enter pit road, you can just go straight to your side, whatever side of the track that your pit stall is on. Is that in effect for caution pit stops too, or just green
It
flag?
should be, because if it's single or dual, I don't think iRacing has that option to change, green flag versus yellow flag stops. So if we set it up for dual, it will be dual on both green flag and yellow flag pit stops. The same for the single lane.
Are you sure about that? Just because
I am pretty sure.
I guess my concern there then lies, and we can have this conversation later, but around having 2 separate pit exits. Technically, you have different positions being like, how would the sim know where like someone comes out versus someone else? Like, say I am in first, Adam's in second. Adam pits on one side of the track, I pit on the other side of the track, and we exit pit road at different times.
Well, you think the pace car runs at a steady speed throughout the lap, and each car has the same amount of pit road to run down and the same pit stall to stop at, roughly. So in theory, depending on how your entrance, your pit stop, and your pit exit comes out, it should all balance out. I can see the issue on the single pit road, of where we do have the rule here where you have to stay right. Well, at Bristol, they don't have, especially if you do the single pit roads, they don't have a dotted line. They don't have a lane to the outside of, I want to say, 3 and 4, that say, hey, you got to stay to the outside. So that would make things a little more difficult to judge and make rulings on that exact rule set. So I think duel would be the way to go, but again, we'd have to definitely get clarification from our leader here of Adam Buzzio before we truly make a decision.
Yeah, so we don't have that for sure information. Just based off the past, we have done duel, from all I know. So we'll see about that, and we'll get that information out as soon as we get it. But we can move on to our prediction for our winner at Bristol. And I am going to switch over, and look, it's already pulled up. I got it right. Everything good to go. Last week, all three of us missed once again. Johnny Wood Jr.
Richard was close.
Oh, so
though.
close. Very close. And
Yeah, my teammate let us down.
he wrecked himself.
He ranks himself, he says.
And with Bristol coming, I've got to go with the person who finished fourth last week. Had a chance to win it. He won Bristol last time we were here. He's lightning quick at Bristol and other short tracks and most tracks in general. But that is the Tennessee man, Isaiah Sutherland.
Yeah, it's hard to go against Isaiah on a concrete track. I don't remember how he did at Dover, but Isaiah's just one of those drivers.
You don't remember?
He
No,
won.
I try to Dover. I try to kind of like leak out my ear, so I'm not a fan. But yeah, I think Isaiah is definitely a solid pick there.
And Carl, you get the luxury to go second.
Oh man, and that's funny because I was gonna pick Isaiah, but you know what? I'm gonna pick Johnny just because Johnny is looking for a little bit of redemption after you wrecked him last week. So I think he has a.
I'm sure that's
he
really
has
lighting a fire
mission.
under him.
He has a mission.
I'm sure. Oh, goodness. No, I mean, Johnny's a good pick. He was right up there at Bristol last season. He was real quick the whole race, and I think he had some sort of strategy call that knocked him further back. But, yeah. And Richard.
So I'm going to go out in left field here.
Uh-oh.
And this is going to surprise everybody, I think.
Zachary King?
No. I'm going to go with
That
Scott
would
Fritz.
surprise.
Okay.
Scott Fritz has showed a lot of speed, and I think with him being a dirt guy, Bristol is really going to play into his driving style. So he's going to be able to throw it into those turns, basically, because you can do that at Bristol. I think Scott Fritz, if he plays his cards right, he might be up there fighting Isaiah and Johnny for that win.
I like that pick, and especially of how he performed on another concrete track being Dover. I think that goes right there with him. And there's a good handful of guys that I could see I'm glad you went off of the few names that we usually pick.
No, there's not a really wide spread of names we have right now.
No, there is not. But I mean, there's some other guys, and I think of like Matthew Catania. He raced really well at Phoenix, another short style track. I think he'll translate really well. Gray Walker, I think, is another good option. A good handful of these guys that we haven't picked, and maybe we can try to get a little bit more diverse. Maybe it will lead us to getting actually correct answers in the future.
Hey.
You have one right so far. Congratulations.
How many do y'all have?
Hey, he's
not
the
important.
only one that has
Okay.
one, right?
Not
So,
important.
I
I'm the only one that has green up there.
Rev picks Adam.
I mean, that's if Adam gets to race, because Adam did say, with the issues we have been having with race control, that he will step down and perform the duties of race control as a last resort. So that's next week's going to be
TBD.
interesting. We'll see.
Yes, we will see if that actually turns out the way that was said. But that almost wraps us up. We do have the last trivia question of the evening. Our third and final Rev Sim Shop random trivia question is a difficult one. And it just goes with how cold it's been lately. I don't know if that's nationwide or just here, but it's been bitterly cold lately. And
Define bitter cold there, Steven.
we got down to, 15 the other night?
What?
Yeah, that's bitter cold for me, buddy.
Oh, come on. We've been in the negative degrees
For
already back
this
here,
time of
so let's
year
go.
for me is insane to be 15. But without, yeah, go ahead.
Well, real quick, Zachary actually brought up a good point here. We are trying with Rev having some issues. He's replaced a couple of parts on his PC. He's really struggling getting that PC up and running, and obviously, with the performance of our last few races, he is desperately needed up in that bird's eye view to keep us all in line. So we have actually started a kind of a Jerry Rig GoFundMe where we're trying to funnel funds into the BRB Racing League PayPal, and all that would go to Rev to get him back up in the chopper, in whatever bird's eye view he has, and we definitely want him back. So I know I put in some money. I know Zach is forked over some cash. I think a lot of guys have forked over some cash just to get Rev back out to help us out, because he is such an integral part of the BRB Butt Kicker Cup series here. So if you guys have, $1, $5, you name it, if you could send it, ask us for some of our info to send it, we can get that taken care of, and we can get Rev back up and running, and we can get the BRB Butt Kicker Cup series back to our former glory. That would be fantastic. So just a heads up, I do want to say that this last week was the race control appreciation, and we didn't have race control, so we definitely appreciate him being up there, and this is how we show it. So if you guys can, just send $1 or something, that would be fantastic, so we can get him back up and running. We would greatly appreciate it.
And honestly, this goes actually far beyond just the race control for Rev. Rev is literally no better way to say it, but the heart and soul of what we have created here at BRB. And I mean, honestly, his computer is what helps generate funds for himself as well. So this is more than just him being race control with us. We love Rev. He's done a lot for us on his own free time, like not even asking for anything in return. So this is what we are trying to do to help him out and get him back set into what he needs to get done.
Well, he does button boxes. He does a lot of custom work. Richard, it's time for your plug for your button box. But yeah, he needs that to keep his income stream going just for his family. So yeah, if you guys can do anything, that would be fantastic.
And thank you for reminding us of that, Zach, and Carl and Richard for tuning into or chiming into that. But yeah, the BRB Racing League PayPal is the main place where we're getting the funds funneled in currently. I don't want to give an actual number of what we're at, but all I'm going to say is we're past several hundred dollars. So big thank you to those that have donated so far, and we look to get a little bit more in anything that you have to help Rev just to have his PC back and his source of income and his ability to help us out. He makes our lives as admins 10 times easier each week when he's the one calling the penalties and calling the shots up there, watching everyone. It makes it a lot harder when we have to go review the races afterwards and go through non-in-race penalties, accidental yellows, a bunch of other things can happen. So we love you, Rev, and thank you for everyone that's contributed thus far. And I don't know exactly when we'll finish. I don't even know if we'll ever finish the donation for it. But
I think once he gets a whole brand new PC, I think that'll be the finished product of the donations.
So that is awesome there. And yeah, without further ado, we can get into our final question of the evening for the RevSimShop.com, a random trivia question. And it is, what was the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit was the coldest race in NASCAR history? And this was the highest the temperature got. It wasn't this temperature the whole time. This is just what it was.
This is the high of the race.
Correct.
Into curb, we all fam.
And your time starts now.
Yeah, this honestly was a shocking thing that even like when you brought it up the other day, I was like, holy cow. Like what?
Yeah.
That was a wild thing to even think about. I never would have even thought of that, because you just don't think of cold temperatures at a NASCAR race. I mean, but in a funny fact, the Indianapolis 500, I think back in the 90s, early 90s, maybe late 80s, Indianapolis 500 practice or qualifying was actually postponed due to snow
That's hilarious.
in May.
6, 13.
60s. Oh, 6. I thought he said 67. I'm like, that is not an answer.
67 degrees.
I'm like, nope. I'm pretty sure it was 40 degrees at Daytona this past year. Adam could vouch for that.
Yeah, some of the coldest races have actually been the Daytona duels, going back into the history of it being in the 30s at times. But this one is a little strange, just because where the NASCAR season falls, it doesn't typically get cold, and they try to stay away from colder areas during the potentially cold times.
Yeah, they tried to.
Try to. Unfortunately, Mother Nature
Failed
has
this year,
other
or
ideas.
this year that this happened.
Well, was it Martinsville a couple years ago that it was almost snowing during it too? It was,
I don't know about that.
I think it was the spring race at Martinsville, first year of Next Gen maybe. I could be mistaken, but it was pretty.
Time's
darn
up. I think
close.
everyone's ready for answer.
All right.
Eric Jensen's not here to give the answer.
I did not see his number.
Oh,
Well, the answer is 20
nobody got it
degrees
right.
Fahrenheit, which is not, I guess, that cold. However, there were wind gusts during this race of 40 miles an hour, which got the wind chill down to 5 degrees Fahrenheit, and it was at Richmond for I think it was the Pontiac Excitement 400 or something at Richmond in 1990.
See, that's my weather right there. I am totally down for a race right there.
Shut up, Carl.
Hey, in fact,
I bet in the cars it would be comfortable.
Oh, I bet,
Well,
man. That's
yeah,
probably the most
exactly.
comfortable they were. It probably had to have been 60, 70, maybe 80 in the car. Tops.
hey, I have this idea. There's a little short track around here that could use some refurbishing, and I was wondering if we did a winter series, put it concrete on it instead of dirt. How interesting that would be here in the.
All right, we're ignoring Carl now because he's a psycho with cold weather.
Hey, you know what? If I can get racing year-round, who would stop me?
Probably half the people living in Colorado.
Oh, you don't understand. This is normal. Are you kidding?
Well, it's just. The
I
type of
think
people
I'd get a
there.
whole bunch of people.
Don't worry, Carl. When I start my sim rig rental business, okay?
There's thoughts of that too, but I was wondering if I combine a real track with rigs and stuff for the little kids. Genius. Big brain move right there.
Zach, I cannot check my Discord DMs right now. I am currently
And-
broadcasting people's faces.
Jared, I would rather take 20-degree weather than 120-degree weather at Texas or Arizona
Oh,
or
tell
something
me
like
about
that. You know
You're not
what?
wrong.
Because here's the thing. When it's cold, you can just put on layers. You have warmers, you have heated jackets, stuff like that with batteries. Cool. When it's hot, there's only so much you can take off before you get arrested. So that's my reasoning behind it.
There was the Texas, the COVID Texas race I was at with my buddy. It was in September, and it was 98 degrees in September, and we are stuck in the infield and left with 150 laps to go because we couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't do anything. The infield doesn't have buildings you can go into with AC. So we just left. It was the most miserable day of my life. So I think I have to agree that I'd rather be at a race when it's cold than hot.
Temperate.
It's going
Warm.
on.
That's
I
fine.
mean, yeah, the perfect weather is the Bristol night race. It's usually 60 degrees and amazing.
See, that's nice.
That is
35 to 40 degrees.
It's a little
night?
much.
That's not so nice.
You just gotta get
Oh,
bundled
come
up.
on.
As long as you
I mean, the
bundle up,
problem is
fine.
you're just sitting there. You're not doing anything to get warm, so it sucks when it's cold.
But if you have enough
You
layers
drink
on,
beer. That keeps you warm. Come on. Oh, you're not thinking big enough here, Richard. Come on, you have all these resources at your disposal.
Oh boy. I think that really wraps
Any
us up for the
news?
evening.
I
As far as
hope to God
NASCAR
it
news,
does.
there's not really any like besides paint
Wait.
schemes
Nope.
and Dale Jr.
23,
River.
the 2311 in Front Row
Oh, yeah.
Motorsports versus NASCAR. The judge got changed, and nobody knows why.
Michael Jordan has a long reach.
Well, okay, well, there's that too, but there has been official changes to the qualifying and practice format as well. So we're not going to have, this Group A, Group B, and Group A gets
Thank
the
goodness.
inside, even though Group B is faster. Because I think that drove everyone nuts. How many races did we go through last year where Group B was faster, but they were starting on the outside? Why did that make any sense to anyone? But I think they're rolling back on that, so I think that change for next year is going to do just wonders for the formats going forward.
And what fully are the changes to the formatting?
So the practice will go from 20 minutes to 25 minutes, so 5 more
Oh.
minutes.
Watch out.
It will be single car qualifying. There will be no group qualifying for the Cup Series. I'm not sure about the other. we
Road
only care about
courses, they will be a group.
I'm
It will be
getting
group.
there.
Faster.
We're just talking
faster.
about the Cup Series. They're doing single car qualifying, except for super speedways, which they will do group qualifying.
What?
Yeah. And road courses where it'll be everybody's on the track at whenever they want to get on the track for 20 minutes of qualifying. But short tracks will get 2 laps of qualifying. Intermediate tracks or all the other tracks will get 1 lap of qualifying. But there will be no group qualifying except for super speedways. And then everybody's going to be on track for road courses.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why they're doing group qualifying for super speedways.
Now that I think of it, like for super speedways, they probably got a little tired of Michael McDowell winning every super speedway pole, just because Front Row had it figured out for single car speed. I guess in a super speedway setting, your pack racing speed is more important in the actual race. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. It's interesting. I personally wouldn't like doing group qualifying on a super speedway, but it also gives TV something a little bit more interesting for super speedway qualifying. It's not as boring. But yeah, that's interesting. That's good changes, I would say.
So, and yeah, just because Zachary King brought it up, and we already talked about it before the podcast went live, Trackhouse will be teaming up with TF Sport in a Corvette GT3 C7R, whatever the heck it is, for the Rolex 24-hour race. And their driver lineup will be Connor Zilic, SVG, Ben Keating, and Scott McLaughlin from IndyCar. So they've got a stacked lineup for the GT3 class. That is a very high potential GT3 class win for the Rolex 24.
And that's also interesting, Richard. You mentioned it that one of your first picks was Mark was going to be racing, and he's not, because he is a very productive.
He's a stellar
and
Trans Am driver.
Exactly. His road racing career is actually what kind of got him into NASCAR, what really kind of helped build a lot of that up. So him kind of taking the ownership role and letting these other drivers in, I think speaks volumes on how Mark really wants to build this team. He's definitely after the success. He's not in it for himself. He's in it for the overall success. And that is just absolute fantastic to hear.
Give it 2 to 3 years, and that group of drivers will be in a GTP caddy for Trackhouse.
Yep. 100%.
All right. Anything else we need to cover this evening, gentlemen?
No, that's about
Time to
it.
buckle it up, I think.
All right.
It is time to buckle
Well,
it up.
Before we get going, I want to give a quick shout out to obviously all of our sponsors: Butt Kicker, the leader in haptics; Sundance Pizza; Ideal Lease; Ascendance Trucks; RevSimShop.com; Advanced GG with the promo code of WolfXLive10 for 10% off your order. Obviously, a big shout out to Pitstop TV and Andrew Cardinali. Wrote down my cheat sheet over here. Andrew Cardinali the fourth.
Oh my, you still can't say it.
can't,
It's
I
a Dakota
can't.
Blast situation
I
again.
tried. I said it a million times before we went live, and I just forgot it all. But no,
It's an Andrew
seriously,
Carda.
thank you, Andrew, for joining us. Loved having you on here this week, and thank you again for all you do for us. Next week, we are at Bristol for the Holler Podcast 250, our Christmas race. Lots of fun Christmas schemes that we got to unveil tonight. Can't wait to see them on track. You can catch that on Pit Stop TV at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on next Tuesday, the 17th. And then we take a 2-week break. We take our Christmas and New Year's break, and then we'll be back again on January 7th for Red Bull Ring.
Red Bull Ring, the Simrap Market Grand Prix.
So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for being in the league and being a part of the league. Carl, let's buckle it up.
Oh, real quick. Guys, when we're done at the podcast, I will be posting the Red Bull Ring setup in announcements for anybody to grab and start practicing at your own free will.
Well, thank you for that, Richard.
Sorry, I had to get that. I forgot about
No,
that.
That's good.
All right, ready, guys?
All right, we're ready.
Buckle it up.
Buckle it up.
Buckle it up, or
Or
you'll
you'll
die.
We'll catch y'all at Bristol next week.
Merry Christmas. Maybe.